Oh, yeah, get that yawn out of there. Yeah, get it out. Just like Goofy. Just like Goofy, man. Look at that. No, wait, this is actually Mickey. This is Mickey, yeah. Mickey's the one who speaks like this, like a douchebag. Look at me, I'm Mickey.
You realize this is going in the video, right? This is going in the podcast. I'm not removing any of this.
I Star Wars in the asshole.
Oh, crap.
Look at me go.
Bro.
Can't put that one in the first 7 seconds, motherfucker.
Well, I can. I just need to quiet down the swear words, and then we can absolutely let that one go.
Give you some extra editing work.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to each and every one of you. What you just witnessed was Rurikon having, I don't know, a stroke, maybe, so something to that effect, right? But we're here. We're happy to be here. It's been a week, an entire one, without hanging out with you guys, without, getting to the news. It's been a busy one. Rurikon, how are you, man?
I am a little bit tired, but I feel like I'm going to get reinvigorated this afternoon as Nightreign is about to just like really rip me a new asshole because they put a hard mode boss in the game. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah. Other than that, it's doing good. I've started painting my Volcus terrain, bro.
Nice.
I started painting my Volcus terrain. Oh, you're going to be proud of me, Akalon. Listen, you know what happened last weekend?
Yeah,
I went to my friend's house, okay, and we were playing Kill Team, and he wanted to play with my team of dwarves. And I was like, yeah, sure, you can play with the Jaegers. And then I said, and I'll play with your Kriegs, which is, Kriegs is like his favorite team, but he's always complaining.
The corpse is super fun.
Deathcore. So he's always complaining. They're so weak. They're terrible. They're the worst team ever. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, I'll play him. And I have no idea how to play Kriegs. So before our game, I'm like quickly going through the app, trying to figure out their rules and shit like that and what the team can do special. And then once I get the rules down, I'm like, all right, so because my friend loves Krieg so much, he has like all of the models because the team has a bunch of different variations. And I just tell him, okay, listen, I want all the gunners, all of them. So it's like the guy with the grenade launcher, guy with the melt-a-gun, all of the gunners. And he's like, that's not how Krieg works. I'm like, I don't care how it works. I want all the gunners. It's legal. It says here that I can do it. I want all the gunners. All the gunners. I want this specialist, this one. We start the match. And I kid you not, I make a terrible mistake because the Kriegs, they have like this rule when one of them dies, he can perform like a free action. So my idea was like, I'm going to run right at you and you're going to kill me and I'm going to shoot a grenade at you. Like that was my strategy. And I get there and it's like, oh, the operative needs to be ready, which means the operative needs to not have done anything. And I was like, oh, crap. So it doesn't work. So I just died for nothing. Okay.
Oh no.
But the coolest part was after in order for him to shoot me, he has to reveal his operative because like one of the strengths of my team, the team he's playing with, is that they can stay hidden for a very long time. So in order to shoot me, he has to reveal one of his operatives. And then I'm like, all right, in that case, because after he shot me and killed my guy, I'm like, I'm going to activate flamethrower guy. And there was another friend of us there. And he just goes, oh, yeah, the flamethrower guy. Because he's complaining about the Krieg again. He's like, it only has the worst flamethrower in the whole game. And I was like, okay. So I move up to where his operative was. Well, mine, the one that killed me from my team. And I just like, okay, I'm going to fire the flamethrower. And I hit every single hit. And he doesn't defend a single one. And I just torch his dwarf like that. I was like... He's gone. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, bro. And then in another one of the turns, this one was the most hilarious one. So I had the Kriegs have this one guy that's like the spotter. And what the spotter can do is he can order mortar strikes while he's stealth. So he can basically shoot a massive AoE whilst being hidden and nobody can get to him. And I was like, okay, so I put him in one of the corners in one of the structures. And he forgot that my unit was there. So he reveals one of his units and I was like, okay, well, I can see this guy. And he's like, wait, what? But with who? And I'm like, the spotter. He's over here. And it's like, oh shit. I was like, yep. So I'm going to shoot my mortar at this dwarf, and because there's another one next to him, he's going to get hit too. I just killed 2 dwarves out of nowhere.
Oh, nice.
I fucking tabled him for the first. That was the first time in our group friend anybody ever got tabled. Tabled means you kill every single fucking operative on the other team, which is like the most decisive victory ever.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, yeah, bro, I don't know what your problem is with Kriegs. They seem to work just fucking fine to me, bro.
Oh, man, the poor guy.
Oh, man.
Like, shit.
I destroyed my own team. It was disgusting.
Hey, but that works, I think, right?
Yeah.
That works really well.
It works.
But, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to officially welcome you all to the Mythic Banter, thank you so much for once again joining us. We have quite a jam-packed episode for you today. Not for Warhammer 40k, although there will soon be a lot of news about Warhammer 40k, considering the fact that Henry Cavill is working on the Warhammer 40k cinematic universe. You have Alcat that apparently woke up and chose violence because they're just running every single Warhammer 40k game that they can think of. You have the guys from Total War making a Warhammer 40k Total War game. It's insane, right? So there's like a crap ton of stuff that I think going to be super exciting in the very near future. Before any of that, though, let's talk about...
It's time for you to strip, Akalon.
Yeah, well, 100%, right? But also, we have to talk about the poll.
I mean,
right?
Of course, that's why I said it's time for you to strip. It's a stripper poll.
Yeah, or
get
it's
on
a
that
Polish
poll.
person.
Is that what they're called?
They're called polls. Yeah, it's a poll. A poll is a Polish person. I guarantee you. Dude, I guarantee you, a poll is a Polish person.
I'm not gonna believe that. Nope, sorry, not gonna happen.
Dude, let us know in the comment section. Just let Rurikon know that a poll genuinely is a Polish person. But all right. So the question in the Polish person this week was: has the media become a mouthpiece for AAA executives? Right? And what's interesting is we had 264 votes, which is insane. Thank you so much, guys. But then 74% was like, yes, absolutely. Suggesting that the common perception from our audience is that not only do they not trust the media, they believe the media is literally working for the people that they're supposed to be reporting on. So it's not even that they're going, wow, the media is just a little bit dishonest. It's like, no, the media is literally working for... the dramatic term would be the enemy class, right? Even though they're not actually the enemy class, but they are the ones that, the media is supposed to keep these guys in check. So 5% said no, 16% said I'm not sure, which is actually astounding to me. Because 16% I'm not sure means they know something's wrong. They're not willing to put sort of, put it out there and go, yep, this is what's happening. But they're at least aware something doesn't seem quite right. What do you make of Rurikon?
It's a little bit weird to me because, like, while I do agree that there definitely are some people in the media that have like their own agendas and stuff like that, absolutely. Like we see that whenever we see, and it's going to be one of the stories today when there's a website just like completely lambasting Stellar Blade for fucking existing and like trying with every fiber of their being to diminish the success of this video game, which is just like, I don't even understand why you would want to do that. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever to me. But I always look at it kind of like individuals. So there are individuals that don't have your best interests at heart. And there are other individuals that are maybe like more nuanced or whatever. So to me, it's all about knowing not necessarily which are the best websites at this point, but who are the best people. The people that will be more, that you will be able to trust within the media.
But, okay, who would you say that is? Like if you were to throw off a name of someone that you think
if I was
is
to
at
throw
least
off
mostly
a name,
trustworthy.
I would say Gene Park.
Okay.
Most of the articles that I've seen from Gene Park are usually pretty well-rounded and balanced. But yeah, that would be one of the ones that I would say. But other than that, right now, it's a little bit rough. Like sometimes, even though, yes, Paul Tassi has a lot of bad takes, sometimes he also gets it right, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. And I know that you fucking hate Paul Tassi or whatever.
Yeah, I can't stand the
But
guy.
the thing is, I don't check that much mainstream articles nowadays to begin with. But it's not because I think that they're all out against us. It's just I don't find a lot of the stuff that people write that interesting. Like I'll go to a news article specifically to get like a specific news, and usually I just tend to ignore whatever spin they happen to be putting on it. Unless I need to talk about the spin, like I've had to do it during the release of Stellar Blade for PlayStation 5, which was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And now it's happening again on PC, and I'm just like, listen, I spoke about this a long time ago. I know exactly where I stand when it comes to this game. So, but yeah, it is surprising to me that it is that big of a skew. Like I would have expected it to be more like maybe around the 50, 60% of people that would have the opinion of the 70%, and the rest of them would be more in the like, I don't know, maybe. So it's surprising to me. Was it surprising to you?
What, the poll?
Yes, the results.
No. But then again, as you know me, I believe that the journalists
they agree
is
with
the enemy
you,
class.
So, yeah. So.
I believe the journalists are the enemy class, right? So from my perspective, destroying the AAA games industry, it goes hand in hand with destroying the media. I would like to see every single gaming media outlet burned to the ground, because I don't like them and I don't trust them. And I'm just going through Gene Park's sort of most recent articles, right? And I mean, all of his stuff almost is hidden behind paywalls, so it's almost impossible to get to the actual articles, right? But you have, for example, Xbox prices abruptly spike amid US trade war with China. I guarantee you in that article, he doesn't push back, because the trade war with China would not affect current Xbox consoles, because those consoles have already been in the US for months at this point. So you're going to see that effect only in a year from now. He's probably not even pushing back against this because it just works in his favor. Let's attack Trump. So, there's a couple of other articles here, but without being able to read the article, I can't really say. But he seems to be very positive about the Last of Us TV show, even though it's, you see, and this is really my problem. I get, right, that everyone's going to have their own opinions, and that's perfectly fine. But consistently, and you and I have spoken about this before, consistently, the media finds themselves not necessarily even at odds with the gaming community, but literally on the opposite side of the gaming community. The Last of Us Season 2 is one of the worst Season 2s of like the last few years, right? It's completely tanked. As the seasons went on, this episodes just started losing more and more viewers towards the last episode, where it's now the lowest viewed episode of all of the Last of Us series. So clearly, this show is dying as a result of their absolutely mega woke bullshit, because they literally have the girl going, I'm going to be a father, right, in the show. Like, that's one of the most cringe things you could ever hear. And the media obviously celebrated it. So when you have someone that's supposed to be a journalist, now the job of a journalist is to basically give you the temperature of the culture. Like, that's their job. They're supposed to temperature check what's happening in the culture and sort of voice that. But how can you have someone whose job it is to taste the culture's temperature be completely wrong on every single thing, praising the Last of Us TV show when none of the viewers are praising it, right? Praising video games when none of the players are praising it. Give 9 out of 10s for video games when the community doesn't play it, and it literally almost kills the studio. I'm looking at Dragon Age the Veilguard. At that point, you have to go, wait, I don't think you know what your job is, so I don't know why you're in this job to begin with.
The thing is, I'm not looking at like Last of Us reviews and shit like that. I'm looking for is takes on video games that I care about, like Xenoblade Chronicles. He's one of the few people that talk about Xenoblade Chronicles. He talked about Lies of P DLC when it came out. He talks about Monster Hunter. So like those articles where he talks about those things, those are usually pretty good. I mean, it's like, I don't go out looking for things that I don't care about. So it's like, I don't go out looking for like, okay, what's his opinion on The Last of Us? Like, I don't care. I don't care about that show. I don't think that show is that interesting. I thought Last of Us 2 is a piece of shit. So,
but here's why it matters, right? Because if I can point to a number of things that this guy writes about that is just completely fake, false, and completely disconnected from reality, then how can I trust anything this guy's reporting on? Because it means that the things that he happens to report on correctly.
What if he has a different opinion than what you have?
Well, the problem is
we have constant disagreements.
Fine, but the problem is if you have consistently different opinions from mainstream gaming audiences,
you pointed out two
something's
examples.
Wrong, right? Well, we could go even further. Star Wars Outlaws got a 9 out of 10. Right, from every single game.
Did Gene Park give Star Wars Outlaws a 9 out of 10?
Hold up. I just brought up Gene Park because you say you like him.
I'm just talking about Gene Park.
Yeah, well, Paul Tassi praised Star Wars Outlaws.
Like I said, Paul Tassi has a lot of bad fucking takes.
Well, this is the problem, right? Gene Park, as I said, I actually literally just looked him up because I didn't even know who this guy was before you said he's one of your favorite guys, right? But let's go to Paul Tassi. Paul Tassi praised Dragon Age the Veilguard, praised Star Wars Outlaws, praised, I think he said a couple of positive things about Dustborn, but I'm going to leave that one just up in the air because I can't remember exactly what he said about Dustborn. But Paul Tassi, you yourself said he has a number of really dog shit takes.
He does.
But then my problem with that would be, why would I trust any of his other takes? If this man has the ability to consistently be on the opposite side of where gamers find themselves, right? When you're literally praising Dragon Age the Veilguard, and yet that game almost kills the studio that made it, something's wrong, right? And any intellectually honest human being would say, hold on, something's very wrong here. I seem to hold opinions as a literal truth sayer, because as a journalist, your job is to reveal the truth. I seem to consistently have the opposite view of literally everyone else. I praise this game, saying this is one of the greatest games. This is a return to form for BioWare. And that return to form really almost killed the studio, right?
So, let me just point out one thing. Like I seem to be in a position now where suddenly I'm having to argue in favor of the gaming press. I'm just saying they're not as bad as like they're not the ultimate enemy. I'm not here to like fucking defend every single one of their bad takes. Okay, they have a lot of them have terrible fucking takes. A lot of them I've called out in multiple videos, specifically like from Kotaku, from when Jason Schreier decided that it was a good idea to defend the fucking microtransactions in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I call them out all the fucking time. I'm just saying that if you look at them individual by individual, sometimes you can find a couple of hidden nuggets. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't want to be put into a position where it's like, okay, but what about this guy, this fucking scumbag? It's like, what do you got to say about that? It's like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, but hold on. That's not the point I'm making, right? I'm not asking you to defend.
Yeah, but I don't want to be put in that position is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you to be put in that position, nor am I putting you in that position. I'm challenging your overall philosophy. You seem to suggest, right, that someone like Gene Park happens to sometimes have certain good takes, although other times really, really piss poor takes. So that makes him, in general, not that bad. My question would be, because it depends, right? Sometimes you can just have a really bad take on like a personal level.
Do you not have bad videos?
No, obviously, as I just said, right? Literally what I just said. Sometimes you can have bad takes because that just happens to be your opinion. But if my job, right, as a YouTuber is to give the temperature check of my audience, right? So how does my audience feel about something? And consistently, I fall on the opposite side of my audience. So I consistently come up with takes that my audience just doesn't share in any way, shape, or form, and literally chases my audience away, which for a YouTuber would mean the end of your channel, right? Your channel just dies because no one's going to watch anymore. But if you have...
your audience... Wait. Is your audience the entirety of the gaming community?
Well, no, but that's not. Remember, as a journalist, your job is to speak on behalf of the games industry. A YouTuber
Not
is
the
a different
entirety
audience,
of the
right?
gaming industry.
No, well, actually, yes, because as a journalist, you're
Why?
supposed to be unbiased and disinterested. That's the whole point of journalism, right? Is
This
to be
doesn't
unbiased
exist.
and disinterested.
We've talked about this. This doesn't
Yeah, that's
exist.
fine. That's fine. But that's exactly why you, in journalism, have the journalist and then you have the editor, because the job of these sort of checks and balances within journalism was supposed to be, because a journalist is a person and therefore can't be unbiased, the editor has to be the one that sort of plays that barrier, right? To make sure that all the bias doesn't just get in. But what do you do when the journalist and the editor and literally all of the checks and balances have become completely biased to just one side of it, right? At that point, you're no longer a journalist, so to speak. Hold up, let me just quickly answer the phone. Sorry, Robo.
Telemarketer.
Yeah, Robo shit. I'm waiting for a call. That's the only reason I have to answer, because I'm waiting for a call. But when you consistently have, right, the media on the one side, just pushing one particular view, right, and never challenging their own view, you have to admit that they're now the enemy class, right?
Here's where I'm at.
Just before you say where you are at, like, let me just quickly make one final point. You cannot consistently go to they sometimes have bad takes, when their bad takes are consistently just to one side of the political aisle, right? All of their takes is on this side of the political aisle, defending games that celebrate this side of the political aisle. And you just continuously go, sometimes some of them have bad takes. And it's like, well, all of their bad takes appear to be only to one side. They never have a bad take towards the other side. Not once have one of them had a bad take where they go, this game that's all about, conservatism is actually super good, and then the gaming industry rejects the game. It's like, Stellar Blade comes out. It celebrates actual femininity, right? The beauty of the female form. What does every single one of the journalists do? Oh, disgusting Gunnar game. This just shows you the disgusting objectification of the male gamer. The male gaze and all that bullshit. And you're like, oh, wow. So you guys can't even accidentally have a good take about a video game. The second it betrays your liberal sort of mindsets, you just immediately have to smash the game.
Listen, every time that I've spoken about Stellar Blade and I've called out like a bad take about Stellar Blade, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the opinion of the entirety of the gaming industry. The game is sitting on an 81 Metascore.
Yeah.
Which is artificially lowered by some of those really bad takes, which is important to call those out. But it also means that a large majority of the gaming media actually embraced it and actually gave it a good score. It's just important to call out why did some people not give it a good score if they happen to have some kind of an agenda. That is the part. So the point is, if you go out looking for something, you're going to find it. And that might eventually skew your perceptive of what you are looking at.
Okay, so are you suggesting
that's all I'm saying?
Are you suggesting that the games media doesn't have a left-wing bias?
No, that's not what I said. I said that if you're looking for bad things, you're going to find bad things because there's a wide variety of people in the games media. And you're correct. There's a lot of them that have terrible takes, and usually that will form this idea that a majority of the gaming media is against us and it's all one big war. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there will be some good reporters there. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to defend the games media. I don't give a fuck about it.
Let's get back to the poll, right? So the poll has 74% of our audience saying, yep, they've become a mouthpiece for the AAA executives. So let's examine this, right? Weeks before Dragon Age The Veilguard came out, every single journalistic outlet gave the game 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10s out of 10, praising every single element of the game. this would only change about 2.5 to 3 weeks after the launch of the game.
Why do you say every single journalistic outlet?
All of the mainstream ones.
Are you sure that's a fact?
Well, all of the mainstream ones, right? The ones that we mostly talk about, PC Gamer, IGN, Kotaku, The Gamer. So the big ones, right? I'm sure there's plenty of small ones that gave it like a 6 out of 10 maybe. But the ones that most people would be focusing on, so the 4 or 5 that most people would be reading, they all gave it glaring reviews. Now, contrast that to Stellar Blade, right? Stellar Blade comes out, and this is like weeks before the game actually comes out. And all of these guys are attacking the game for being just playing into the right-wing male gaze, right? And making, objectifying females. And you sort of go, wait, hold on. So you guys are defending Dragon Age the Veilguard, even though it completely flopped and failed. And yet you're attacking Stellar Blade. So let's not even talk about the actual review scores here. Let's just talk about the fact that when a game comes out that gamers appear to like, right, and actually enjoy, you guys are more than happy to attack these gamers. And yet when another game comes out that no gamers enjoy, so what's the difference? Well, the one is from a fairly unknown studio, right, that is trying to make their name in the gaming industry. The other is from large advertisers that pay the bills at most of these media outlets, right? And you sort of go, wow, there appears to be, like, even if you remove the political stuff, right? Even if you just look at the bias there, you do sort of have to go, something's wild here. Why are you guys just consistently, you're running defense for these AAA companies whilst attacking the sort of up-and-comers, right? If they happen to be against them, because Dustborn is also from an up-and-comer, but that was praised to high heavens. So that's a different story. So yeah, I just find it interesting, right? That's all I'll point out. I think the poll proves how a lot of people in the community feel about it. Of course, if you guys don't agree with the poll, you have to vote in the poll, right? We do these polls specifically to get where you guys are at, because we want to know how you guys feel about stuff. Then I want to just bring up one comment from the poll, which I'm not entirely sure what the hell this comment is about, because I don't remember you ever saying this, but you've been accused of something, Rory. So the user here says, Rory, I normally agree with most of your takes, but I think if you are on the side of exclusive games in certain storefronts, Steam, Epic, because competition is good, then how are you against exclusives on consoles? It's the same thing. I think consumers but be in a lot better place if Xbox was still competing against PlayStation, but since they're not, PlayStation feels no urge to actually pump out games. When were you for exclusive games, though? Like, did I sleep
I've never
through that
been for
section?
exclusive games unless he's referring to when I say I'm going to play games where they are. That's what I've said, which is like, listen, if there's a game I want to play and it's on the Switch, I'm going to play it on the Switch. I don't want it to be exclusive. My point on this has always been, I want everybody to be able to play everything on every fucking platform, except mobile. Fuck mobile in the ass.
Right.
But other than that, it is what it is. That's always been my take. I don't know where that comment is coming from. What the fuck do you mean? Of course I want Xbox to be competitive. Absolutely. I want them to get all the games from PlayStation. I want PlayStation to get all the games from Xbox. And I want the PC to get games from both platforms and the Switch. That's the best. That would be the ideal. I don't know anybody who can, except for those super hardcore console warrior babies, except for those guys. I don't know anybody who's out here going like, exclusives are good. Yes, we need to. What the fuck? That's insane. No.
Well, I do think, I think there are. So the reason I bring this up is not to call you out, chatter. That's why I didn't use your name. It's just to clarify, because I don't remember myself or Rurikon ever having a take that exclusives are good. In fact, we've had multiple episodes and conversations where
we said exclusives are not good.
Exclusives because they're bad.
As a matter of fact, here's Here's a bit of news. You know how PlayStation had that thing where you needed a PSN account? I've read some articles throughout this week that they're apparently toning down on that, and they're getting rid of that requirement for Steam, which is for some games. I don't know if it's for all of them or if it's going to be
that is a good thing
done like but yeah, exactly. So it's like, to me, that's the type of shit I celebrate. Yes, get that shit away. Like even recently, I was in a podcast with Cowboy, and we were talking about Neo 3. And if you remember, we talked about Neo 3 in here as well, because we're like, oh, it's probably going to be a Sony exclusive. It's already on Steam. Yeah. Like you can already pre-buy it on Steam, which means I don't know if you can pre-buy it, but what I'm saying is it's already listed on Steam, right?
Okay.
So it's like, it doesn't make sense for them to like release as an exclusive and then just keep the thing on Steam waiting. Like, it's likely going to be a simultaneous release. At least that's what makes sense. So I usually celebrate those things.
Speaking of that, though, I need to bring this up because you just brought up Neo. And if this is the same game that I'm thinking of, the creator of this game has this weird mask thing that he wears.
No, that's Nier.
Oh, is it Nier?
That's right? Yoko Taro. You're thinking about Yoko Taro.
Same game.
Not at all.
It's
completely different.
100% the same game. Like, not even a difference.
Bro,
you wouldn't even know.
You're going to get roasted harder than Silk Song for this take. Just wait.
It's an Asian game. It's all the same. Right?
Hey, that's the way that PC Gamer thinks.
Yeah, that's actually true. Based. But no, right? It just reminded me of this take from him. And this isn't on our list, but it's still, I think, is really, really good. He was asked in an interview recently, actually from his fans. So he's on X. He's
Yoko
posting.
Taro?
Yeah, the guy from Nier.
Okay.
He's asked in an interview, well, not an interview, Q&A, right, with the fans. Some of the fans ask, like, what's it like in the gaming industry? There must be so many weird people who work in the gaming industry. And he basically says, when I started, the games industry was filled with super weird people that would be making video games. But nowadays, there are almost no more weird people in the gaming industry. And I remember reading another article about how there's a new CEO in America that basically is starting a company with no HR department. Like, she just said, no, I will not have an HR department. And her argument is HR departments destroy company culture because they effectively come up with these rules to try and justify their own existence that makes it impossible for people to actually function, to just be a company. So she wants to run this company with no HR department. And I thought to myself, you know what? Something that is quite interesting is I remember the games industry being a bunch of nerds and weird guys making video games, right? That was sort of the thing. And as time has gone on, the one thing that I think all of us can agree on, regardless of our politics, is that the games industry has become a lot more corporate. It's a lot more. It's a lot more business.
I'm not sure I can agree to that, Ekelon.
It's like everything.
Somebody would have to hold me at gunpoint. What the fuck?
It's so much more corporate now, right? Like when you hear people speak. One of the things that stood out for me when I first got into the Final Fantasy XIV community was that Yoshi P would actually do live streams with no PR people choosing the questions for him, right? Because that just doesn't happen in the games industry. In the games industry, the guys sit around a table pretending to be like Blizzard is the masters of this.
Listen,
sitting around a table pretending to have a fireside chat, but the questions are purposefully chosen to ensure that they hit all the right questions and the answers is trained ahead of time. Yeah.
Here's how based Yoshi P is. Okay, I'm gonna give you two examples.
Please.
Number one, he just goes out on stage and goes like, "Okay, listen, guys, y'all got. I'm gonna delay the game 2 weeks."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, why?" Because Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree is coming out. You guys get 2 weeks to play that, and then you come back and play my game again.
Yeah.
And the other time was when literally he boots up the stream. He's got a Nintendo Switch he's playing on stream, And then the other guy, Foxconn, or is it Foxconn or Foxclon? I forget, but whatever. It's the other guy that usually does the live streams with him. He's sitting next to him and he's going like, well, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm playing Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. He doesn't give a fuck.
Okay? He's like, he gives a crap, right?
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
so,
but that's exactly the point, is you used to have people who were just gamers and they were just fellow nerds nerding out about video games. Now, everything is corporatized. Every single interview is ahead of time. You have to send in all of your questions to make sure that they don't get the wrong questions from the wrong people, right? Because they need to train their people to answer in the right way. It just the weirdness is gone.
No, every single interview is not like that.
No, there are companies that don't do that. But I know for a fact, for example, for a long time, I don't know if Blizzard does it anymore, but for a long time, that's literally how Blizzard interviews went.
Oh, yeah.
And I was told,
listen,
because
there's definitely some, well, no, for starters, for a long time, that's not how it went, because I did a Blizzard interview and my questions were not screened.
How long ago?
This was 2013, I think.
Yeah, that would have been, sort of the early days. I'm talking about, so think sort of after the Tom Chilton era, when Ian Azikostas just took over, and you sort of just before Mike Morhaime left.
I think Tom Chilton might have been one of the people I interviewed. Was it Tom Chilton?
Well, Tom Chilton. It would have made sense. This was
during Mists of Pandaria.
Yeah, Mists of Pandaria. He was still the lead designer, the game dev, the lead dev of the team. And then he made way for Tom Chilton made way for who again? Ian Azikostas, I believe, came after Tom Chilton. And he's been there ever since, right?
Listen, I'm gonna send you
I'm
gonna send you something, and you can tell me who these people are, because I haven't covered World of Warcraft in so long. These are the two guys I interviewed. You can see for yourself.
Okay, the one on the left is Tom Chilton. I know the one on the right, but I can't remember his name, right? But the one on the left is Tom Chilton, yes.
It was funny. After the interview, I asked them if listen, were you guys able to tell that I haven't played this game in over 2 years? And they were like, no. And I was like, good.
Which is probably an indictment of the game in and of itself, right? But hey, it is what it is. But no, I think, this was sort of the last time just before Blizzard became ultra mega corporate. And it needs to be remembered that Ian Azikostas is a lawyer by trade. So I don't think it's accidental, right? That he became the lead dev, and very shortly after that, the company became just ultra corporate. But I remember there was a time, specifically during like the Legion days, the Battle for Azeroth days, where if you wanted an interview, you would have to apply at PR. They would have to okay it. You can't do podcasts, right? So they won't allow them to just come on a podcast randomly. And then you have to send the questions.
Here's another thing. Yeah? Wasn't that around the same time as Overwatch?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because I interviewed Jeff Kaplan, and my questions were also not screened in that interview.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, right? I just know for a fact I've spoken to people who interviewed a lot of people, and I even spoke to, I can't say his name, but he's a developer, very senior developer at Blizzard, right? And I asked him about this. And he was like, yeah, they have to screen the questions to make sure that you don't ask questions that reveal stuff.
So listen,
right?
That doesn't make sense, because like I said, they didn't screen it for this interview that I just showed you. They didn't screen it when I interviewed Jeff Kaplan. And when I went with TGN Squadron to BlizzCon, and we conducted interviews there for, you don't know what that is? What, BlizzCon?
No, the guy you mentioned, TG something.
TGN Squadron.
TGN, like, that's what you said.
TGN Squadron, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Me and the squadron, we went over to Blizzard.
Squadron. I'm like, TG Squadron? I don't know how that is, but okay.
TGN Squadron. We were doing a lot of coverage on like Here's the Storm, so we got access to Blizzard. We interviewed some people in the Warcraft team, some people in the Overwatch team, and some people in the Here's the Storm team at a time. Yeah. None of our questions were ever screened. This, I believe, was in 2015, 16, something like that. So it's like, in 2013, they didn't do it. 2015, they didn't do it. In 2017, they didn't do it.
I could argue, and I could make the argument, right? At least this is what I've been told.
Okay.
I wonder if I should say his name. Terran Gregory revealed this to me.
Don't say no. You can't say their names, bro.
It's not secret shit. It's just Terran Gregory told me some people at Blizzard, some of the higher ups are media trained, right? So they went through the whole PR thing to be trained in what they can and can't say. And for those people, you'll oftentimes they'll get interviews that they can just go to, right? And then you have sort of more. So if you wanted to ask questions of, say, some of the writers, or you wanted to have specific people on that aren't necessarily as media trained, there it would be a lot more controlled. And also they want to make sure you also matter, right? So the kind of interviews, they look at what your previous interviews were, what kind of questions do you normally ask? So if you're someone that's really going to start digging at stuff, now this wasn't Terran telling me this is just what I sort of gathered from what he told me. They're obviously going to be like, give us your questions. We want to make sure. And I know for a fact that this is how I know that this was a thing. If you go back and you look at, there's that famous interview where Preach is talking to Ian Azikostas. This was the first time that they had an actual big conversation, right? And Preach made it clear that he made it clear to Blizzard, I will not submit my questions. This is not going to be a normal sort of interview as you always do. I want to talk about
Blizzard. Weren't happy about that one.
Yeah. No. Right? Blizzard almost blacklisted him for a few years after that, where they would.
What do you mean almost? They did blacklist him for quite a few years.
I say almost because it was only for 2 years, and then he was back in the business, right?
So it was only 2 years.
Yeah.
Average human lifespan, right? Fucking 70 or something like that. It was only 2 of those 70. Yeah. Not a particularly long time.
But that's what made that a super interesting talk, because it was the first time ever that Blizzard allowed for something so sort of off the cuff.
Yeah.
Or at least the first time in a long time that Blizzard have allowed for something so off the cuff. It should also be mentioned, you sort of have the 2016 Mike Morhaime leaving. That era would also have played a massive role. I just know the last few years, sort of before I quit,
it's just what here's the thing.
Harsh. Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? You just kind of extrapolated from these specific examples that you have from Blizzard. And I know that all the interviews in games media are like this. It's no, there are some that are like that. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't
absolutely
say all of them are like that, but there are a lot that is, right?
How do you know? That's the thing.
Well, I know because I can listen to
every interview that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. The one that went the worst, and the one that I would say is probably like what you're saying, was the Destiny one with Deej, where I would ask even the most softball question, and he would just treat me like a mushroom, okay? Keep me in the dark and feed me shit. That's all he did throughout the whole fucking interview. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, bro, thanks. This was very useful, Deej. Thanks.
Okay. I base it on, first and foremost, as I said, I have experience in at least the Blizzard side of things, right? Where from the people that I've spoken to and the people that did do these interviews, I even know of people who refuse to do interviews at Blizzard. This is obviously, I haven't played WoW and been part of the community for a long time, but there were creators who refused to do interviews exactly because of this, because it felt too bullshit. But then also just the fact of watching a lot of interviews, right? You get the sense, you'll watch an interview from a creator and you can see, but these aren't the questions that the community actually has, right? There's questions, but a lot of the questions aren't. Now, a lot of this can just be self sort of censorship, right? Because a lot of creators want to get more interviews, so you're not going to ask.
It's not
so tell me, did you do this thing? Right? Instead,
it's not self-censorship. It's when you go into an interview, you need to understand that there's going to be a back and forth, and it's if you're going to be just unpleasant, they're just going to cancel the interview. They're going to go away. It's that simple. It's if you start just being like an obnoxious asshole,
but
they're going to be like, wait, fuck this guy.
I feel like you're extrapolating way too much there. Right, there's a major difference between. Hold up, let me just answer this.
Did you get telemarketed again?
Yep. Dude, it's insane how much that happens.
I thought I had it bad, dude.
No, it's insane.
the other day I was like working out, and I have to pause my workout because it's a number that I don't know, and it's somebody saying, "Sir, your Windows copy is," and I was like, "Listen, nice try." And before I even finished what I was about to say, because I was going to say, "Nice try." Next time, try that on somebody that doesn't understand computers. I was going to say that. She didn't let me finish. She just screamed at me, "Shut up!" And then she hung up, and I was like, "Holy shit! The scammer's mad."
Yeah, you're probably like the painful 20th person they found, and that
I told her to go pound sand. She was fucking mad, dude.
Yeah, for those of you at home wondering what the hell me and Rurikon is talking about, because I probably cut out the call. I'm getting spammed with telemarketers today, but I'm waiting for a specific call, so I have to answer every bloody call. Right, so it is super annoying, but here we are.
But anyway,
what I wanted to say is I feel like you're extrapolating way more, right? So I'm not suggesting that you should be an asshole. Right? I agree with you. If you're just being obnoxious, that's a different thing. But
you will sometimes cancel it.
Well, you'll sometimes have interviews, right, where there's something very specific that the audience is currently really annoyed by. And then the interview happens, and not a single question about that thing this is literally the thing that's annoying the audience. This is literally the thing that the audience wants to know about. And yet that question is literally the question that will just never be asked. And you sort of have to then go, well, one or two things happened here. Either the questions were submitted and the company said, we will not answer that question, or the people asking the questions changed it themselves. They were like, wait, if I ask the question, they might be angry at me. I'll never get another interview.
Here's the thing. Sometimes you will get briefed on like, they're not going to talk about this topic. And here's the interesting thing. You can still ask the question, but they'll warn you in advance. Here's the answer you're going to get. They're going to just say, we're not talking about that. And it's like, whenever you got an interview, you're going to get like 10 minutes to talk with the people that you're talking to. And that's it. That's the interview. You're going to get your 10 minutes. And do you want to waste those 10 minutes asking a question that you already know they're not going to answer?
I mean, I've done interviews in the past, right? With Madeleine Roux, for example, the author of one of the World of Warcraft books. So I've done interviews in the past, and those were fine. I remember getting an email with some of the stuff that wouldn't be allowed, right? But it was mostly spoiler stuff. Sometimes, right? So just don't ask about this because it's going to spoil stuff for the story.
But sometimes that's the way that's going to go.
Yeah, that's
it's just
fine.
Like they're going to tell you they're not going to answer these things, and therefore then you just see the interview, and you're going to go like, well, we really wanted to know the answer to this. Why didn't they ask this? Sometimes that might end up being because the person handling the interview said they're not going to answer this.
Yeah,
so you can ask it, but they're not going to answer it.
It's not quite what I'm referring to, right? Because those would be spoiler stuff or gameplay stuff or whatever. I'm more talking about some kind of controversies, right? Where sometimes interviews will just not address the controversy.
Sometimes they'll tell you that they won't address controversies as well.
I do think that we are seeing a return away from this sort of corporatization of the games industry. It does seem like there's a move away from that. Yeah. You have a lot more games developers that seem to be speaking more openly, albeit to trash white gamers. But still, they are speaking a lot more openly nowadays. But that's at least something.
The thing that annoys me about this is that I know for a fact I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to say like, "Oh, Rurikon's just defending it." It's like, I'm not defending it. I'm telling you facts because I've been in a lot of these interviews and I know how it works. A lot of the times,
it's
like
fine.
if I have like 15 minutes to ask a bunch of questions, I want to ask questions that I'm going to be able to get answers to. And if there's like a burning question the community has, and they specifically tell me they're not going to talk about this, it's like it is what it is. Like, for instance, when I went up to the last interview that I did, which was with the Monster Hunter devs, I asked the question that I know for a fact they didn't like, but nobody told me that they wouldn't have answered it. But I could instantly tell that they weren't going to answer it, so I didn't push it, which was, I went in there and I asked, hey, listen, on the last Monster Hunter game, the balance between what was microtransactions and what were actually event quest rewards was kind of skewed. We had much more rewards that used to be in event quests, and now they were just microtransactions. And they gave me like a super, like,
answer.
bullshit answer, corporate answer that was just like, we're working to figure out the balance, blah 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 blah. They basically didn't answer it. And the thing is, specifically in that interview, because I am talking to 3 Japanese developers, and there's an interpreter that is interpreting my question and then interpreting their answer.
Yeah,
that question alone was like, I don't know, 6-7 minutes of my interview gone. It's like, do I want to waste that and go, okay, let's go again. Let me rephrase that and waste like half of the interview time because I had like half an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that.
Which, by the way, is another problem.
I need
with
things that I can
culture.
get answers to.
It's another problem with the interview culture. We live in an era of podcasts. I mean, you guys are watching a podcast right here. Why are more games developers not coming on podcasts and actually having conversations and
because
actually
of time.
defending their decisions? Right? I don't buy that bullshit because of time. They have time, right? You're not asking this developer to be on every single day on a different podcast, right? But they have.
Then who gets the podcast privileges?
Well, at the moment, who gets the privileges for the interviews, right? Not everyone is allowed to do an interview. Not everyone gets an interview. So it's going to be the same reason as they do the podcast, right? And Skill Up already gets a bunch of privileges because there has been a number of people that have been on his podcast. The point I'm trying to make here is when you go and you look at all of the nonsense interviews that they do, right? So before World of Warcraft comes out, a new expansion, Ian Azikostas will do like 12 interviews with 12 different news outlets, each having about a half an hour of his time. Almost all of them asking exactly the same questions, right? And just sort of phrasing it slightly different. Whereas you could have taken all of that time, which would have been 6 hours if everyone gets half an hour, take those 6 hours, spend it on like 2 podcasts where people can actually have a conversation with you, right? And there you would go to the podcasts that matter most.
But you get less reach.
Sorry?
You get less reach.
Well, I wouldn't say that you get less reach.
You absolutely do.
I highly doubt that. I feel like podcasts, right, is gonna.
I'm a big Preach stan. Okay,
yeah,
I'm a big Preach stan. I love Preach.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like I don't think Preach is going to have the same reach as say an IGN and a Eurogamer put together.
I highly doubt that. IGN and Eurogamer. I mean, the games industry is literally under so much pressure because they're not getting that many clicks that there's less than 12 journalists total in the games industry. Jason Schreier wrote about this not long ago. The games media is dying because no one's reading those articles. We're actually seeing now, even Paul Tassi, before he blocked me, admitted that people like Asmongold have a way more impact on the success of a game than what the mainstream media has. So the mainstream giving a game a 9 out of 10 no longer matters because people want to know, what does Asmon think, right? What do my favorite reviewer think? I don't give a shit what Paul Tassi says about the game. So Paul Tassi said, this is infuriating, but that's just the reality we live in now. So yes, I actually think if Preach had a podcast with Ian Azikostas for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, right? His podcast would probably get millions of views. Whereas it's not
here's what
I
can say.
Gamer. Yeah.
I don't know if it would get millions of views, but here's what I would say. I would rather watch the Preach
because
podcast.
WoW's dying, but think back to when WoW was not dying, right?
What I'm saying is like I would definitely prefer to watch the Preach podcast over reading an article on IGN or Eurogamer, 100%. But I don't think that would be the majority of the media consuming gamers out there.
I think it would be. I mean,
but it should. It's like, listen, I want to agree with you, but I don't think I'm there yet.
Well, let me put it to you this way, right? When you listen to marketing specialists, and this is where Devin Nash has actually been a good voice because he worked for a marketing company.
When is this happening? When am I listening to marketing specialists?
Well, have you ever watched the video from Devin Nash?
Yeah.
Okay, so Devin Nash runs, for those of you at home, Devin Nash runs a marketing company. Specifically, they focus. Well, they're an agency, rather.
Isn't it an agency? Yeah, it's not a marketing.
They're an agency. They're an agency in 2 ways, right? So the one side of his business has creators that's actually being managed by the agency, but then another side of the business is actually advertising. right? So they work with brands to connect those brands with content creators because that's part of the business, right? And he made this very clear. In the world of marketing, the overwhelming budget from every single company goes to YouTube. It's about 90% of all marketing budgets go to YouTube. The other 10% go to like websites.
I remember that video.
Because most companies know that the mainstream media is dead. Like IGN writing an article means shit. I need YouTube, right? Because that's where most people now consume their media.
Except IGN is also on YouTube.
Yeah, but IGN, if you compare their sort of official videos to their, like the thing that keeps them alive is their trailers, right? And the fact that the games media still put their trailers on there.
The trailers, not just the trailers, but their IGN first program. So trailers and access.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. So access would obviously work, right? But that again just plays into people will watch anyone that has that access because they want the information that comes from it. So if Skill Up did it, it will probably get the same views, if not more views, right? Especially when you start to get people who actually ask the questions that matter, who isn't just trying to protect their access. Because that's oftentimes what happens with these media studios and with some YouTubers. They're more interested in protecting their access than they are in actually getting the truth out and understanding what is actually going on here. But that's just part of the corpo nonsense within the industry. Bringing it back to the original point, this guy just said there's no more weird people in the industry. Most people now are corporate, right? They're just workers. They go to work and they go home, and it shows. It shows in the video games that we play how most games are just becoming a bit more corporate. Yeah.
I thought I was struggling. Holy shit! IGN's channel is. What the fuck?
Wait, is it really that bad?
Like, I mean, they have 19 million subscribers.
Yeah.
One of their recent trailers is like 25,000 views. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely something wrong with the YouTube algorithm, dude. Like, just looking at this, so they have Omega Redux, 25K views. Ark Lost Colony, 49K views. 21K views for Gears of War Reloaded, which you would think would probably get a lot of views. Mexican Ninja, 81K views. Dude, YouTube is screwed. I don't know what's going on, but YouTube is absolutely... Dude.
By the way, guys, you should subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah.
Like right now, this is a good time. You guys should subscribe.
Yeah, you should actually subscribe. I just find this insane. Death Stranding 2 in the name.
You want to
8.5K
You want to know
views.
what I find? Yeah, you want to know what I find insane?
Yeah.
Why the fuck do we bother coming up with podcast topics?
Dude. Yeah, that is actually true. We just continuously come up with our own bullshit to talk about. Anyways, right? But this is really
what a waste
bad.
of time.
This is really bad, dude. Just look at I would love to know if this is... I'm going to have to do some research on this. Is this something that's actually happening? Like industry-wide? Are actual channels suffering to get views? Because I know even Smash JT spoke about this. Like his channel's also just dead. Right. And now you might say, but wait, this is just all the wokies, right? The anti-woke. It's Gamergate 2 stuff. But then I also know content creators who, and I won't name their names because they didn't give me permission to name their names. Smash I can because he tweeted it out, so I'm assuming he doesn't care that people know. But I have content creators that don't do anything political. And their channels just a few months ago ran into a brick wall. And they don't know what's going on. They're not getting views. Their videos are sort of dying right after being uploaded. And they don't know. They don't know what's happening. So please hit the like button on this podcast if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already, because it really does help out. The last video we did where I asked you guys to subscribe and you did, thank you so much for that, was the most viewed video we've had in like 2 months, right? 3 months even.
I still think that thumbnail did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, but
That's
the
a really
thumbnail
good
definitely
thumbnail.
did a lot of heavy lifting. But let me tell you how I know.
There's a pretty person. There's a really sexy guy on the cover of that thumbnail.
True, but I made that thumbnail, so I get some of the recognition, I think.
But there's a really smoking hot daddy.
Oh, dude,
I am a father.
I guess that's fine. That it's factually true, so that works, right? But if I go right and I look just at like our views in December, right? So in December, we were uploading podcasts that was getting like 6,000 views, 4,000 views. We had some. We obviously had lower views as well because we started only last year. But 8,000 views, so you had in September, we had podcasts that would go to 8,000 views. And ever since sort of end of January, it's been consistently just a train wreck, right? Consistently just a train wreck of trying to get the views up. 1,700, 2,000, 2,4, 2,5, 2,6. It's been such a mess to try and get the videos out. And no one knows why. And I don't mind that we're not getting as many views, is what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. You just have to play the game. I guess what bothers me is that I don't know how to fix it or even what we're doing wrong. That's the thing that's annoying. If you could just know, oh, I'm shadow banned. Cool. Okay. Now I know, right?
Thank you.
Now
we know. We can abandon the project now. Thanks.
Right? Or your content's just shit. Oh, okay, cool. We'll try and figure out how to make it better, right?
Yeah.
But nothing makes sense. Doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. The metrics doesn't make sense.
The YouTube algorithm is getting to the Twitch ban levels, which is like people get banned. Why? Because fuck you. That's why.
100%.
Why this person get banned for 1 day and this person got banned for 2 weeks? Because fuck them. That's why.
Seems balanced. Seems based.
Fair.
I would like to take just a little bit of time here, and I would like to thank all of the people that actually became members. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for that. It's actually something that I wanted to do before we started, but we have 2 members, which I didn't think we would ever have. Right? I didn't think we would have. So really, massive shout out. Yeah.
No, I just said let's go.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking of a bunch of different things, but I definitely appreciate you guys.
Waiting on that call. Here we go. Another telemarketer waiting to scam you.
Please no more. I've had enough of this. Dude, but YouTube is so blatant, man. Everywhere you go on YouTube now, just screw the topics, I guess. Just going through YouTube here. Right, on the page where I'm just quickly checking who our members are. I won't dox you guys because I didn't ask you for permission to say who you are, right? But just checking on the top of it, it's like, hey, have you tried mentioning to your people that you have memberships now? Because that really does increase.
Remember how I told you about that before the friggin' show started? Yep, that's all they care about.
Yeah, and then I go to tip number 2. And it goes, people who make shorts mentioning the membership gets more members.
Okay.
And then it's like, the next step, keep your members engaged with some member-only posts. And it's like, dude.
YouTube wants memberships so bad. Like, I guarantee you, the average YouTube viewer has no idea how hard YouTube is pushing the membership. Yeah. They just like, bro, if they could squeeze so much more money out of you, they're like, listen, you need to be mentioning memberships every fucking second of every fucking video. Like, listen, you fucking take a piss break. You put a big sign on the screen that says members now. I was like, bro, stop, chill. Do you see the economy we're in? Let people enjoy content. You don't have to be a member.
Dude, if YouTube would just listen to some advice, like, guys, you will 10x your membership if you allow members not watch members
ads.
do not see
not
ads.
to watch.
10x.
God damn,
People
bro.
will immediately
That would make
become
too much
members.
sense.
Yeah.
That would make too much sense. They're like, no, we want the memberships and the ad money. We don't just want one or the other. We want both memberships and ad money. It's like, come on, bro. What the fuck?
It's absolutely annoying. But
anyway,
okay.
listen, we need to get to some of these topics at least. Like
we have to talk now about Ethan. Now, I didn't watch his video. You watched this video. All I'll say is, it's like, dude, I know what Ethan did. And
it is the ultimate. It is the ultimate. You've activated my trap card move ever done. And I know that people are going to ask, why do we care about this? Why does this matter? What does this have to do with gaming? And that's precisely it. A large portion of the content that you consume nowadays from gaming, I'm sure, because a lot of people in here watch Asmongold, a lot of people in here watch other creators that do reaction content.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now that the the fallout of this situation is going to 100% affect reaction content. And this is a situation that was created that is kind of fucked up, but let's talk about it. So Ethan Klein drops a video yesterday.
Yep.
And he says, I am suing these 3 content creators. So what did Ethan Klein do? I'm sure that even if you're just like tangentially witnessed any of this, you'll be aware that Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker have a feud going on. They hate each other, et cetera, Israel, Palestine, the whole 9 yards. There's like a lot of stuff going on there. We're not going to get into the political side of it. Just know these 2 guys have a feud going on, right? And Hassan Piker has a lot of people that are kind of like his orbiters, and they are giga unhinged, right? We've seen denims go like, I'll give $30,000 to whoever makes this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. And it's like, oh, that's so funny. Just like casually throwing out $30K for somebody to disappear. Yeah. It's just nice. All funny memes. Then we have the other one, which is Frogan going like, oh, if we get this amount of subs, we're going to bake 2 towers and bake 2 cakes in the form of the Twin Towers and then crash a plane on them.
Just casually joking about 3,000 people dying.
Just good, wholesome fun, you know? But anyways, so there's these really unhinged people. So what did Ethan Klein do? He actually copyrighted the very first content nuke Hassan that he did. As in, he actually registered the copyright for that. Like officially, legally. Okay? So that was his first thing. And he didn't tell anybody this. And then he just put the video out there because he knew that people would react to it. Right? And so people reacted to it, which is fine. Like Asmongold did full reactions to it. XQC did full reactions to it. A bunch of people watched the content nuke Hassan and did like a full-on reaction to it, right? But some of those people took it upon themselves, as Ethan Klein kind of like predicted they would do, to go above and beyond. So the claims that they made in their reactions, like, if you want to watch the content nuke while not supporting H3, you can watch it through me on my stream. So basically, they provided a market replacement for that video. Now, I know that not everybody is going to be well versed in copyright and in the fair use of Copyright Act, the Copyright Act fair use, which is the thing that allows us to do reactions. Now, I am, because of the fact that we are constantly getting content ID claimed on YouTube, and therefore you end up going to inform yourself about like what is fair use, what is not fair use, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that instantly disqualifies a video from being fair use is essentially providing a market replacement, especially if that is your intent, which is what both Frogan and KC Tron and Denims did. They specifically point out in their videos, by the way, if you want to watch it and not support them and support me. It's just blatant theft. Because that's the thing. Whenever you do a reaction video, you'll notice that most people that do reactions, like Asmongold, me, Akalon, anybody that ever does a reaction video, one of the things that we always do is we shout out the creator. Regardless if we like the video or not, regardless if we agree with the person or not, it's like, hey, listen, here's the video, here's the link, you should watch it.
Always original link to original
you should,
channel. Yeah.
Exactly. You always should do the link and reach, and, make sure that people go and check out the original video.
You are effectively making content for free on their work. So,
exactly. On their work. So you want to be as fair as possible. Yeah. And these three creators did the exact opposite. They provided market replacements. A lot of the times they did almost no commentary whatsoever. They obviously re-uploaded their shit and all of that. And all of them are getting sued into oblivion. Now, here's the thing. I would rather Ethan Klein didn't do that because, he's going to set a precedent for this. Yep. And we already have, terrible fucking
Dark
copyright
Viper
situations
AU
on
is
YouTube.
He cannot wait. He's going to start copyrighting every single one of these videos.
Bro, Dark Viper AU was watching that, and he just had he was diamond hard when he was watching.
That dude just,
bro was like, fuck yes.
Did I ever tell you?
Let's get him.
Did I ever tell you that Dark Viper AU gave me a copyright strike?
A copyright strike?
He copyright striked my channel because I reacted to a video of his where he tried to make the point, right, that copyright is theft. And so I reacted to the video. I stopped that video probably every 30 seconds to correct his logical fallacies, to be like, dude, but you're completely misrepresenting. So I was genuinely fair use. He struck my channel. I had to walk around with that for 3 months on my channel. Too scared to react to anything because it's like, oh shit, if you get one more, it becomes serious, right?
One more is fine. One more after that is.
But one more is serious because any other infringement, it's gone.
Yeah, after
right?
that, you're fucked.
Yeah, at 2, you're sort of going, well, I just won't make any content. I'm gonna go fix some roads for the next 6 months, and I'll be back as soon as this shit disappears.
But so that is what's happening with the H3 situation. He is suing Casey Tron, Denims TV, and Frogan. And to be honest, for what they did, they kind of had it coming. I still prefer that he hadn't done it because, like I said, it's going to murk the waters of when it comes to reaction content. And by the way, I don't even do that much reaction content myself nowadays, but it's just something that I don't want to see fucked with. Because every now and then it's like, I do want to do a reaction video, and I don't want to have to be like, oh shit, fuck. But what is the law right now? What is fair use? What is going on? So it is ultimately going to be a problem. Now, he has specifically stated, I don't want to make this worse for the commentary community, quite the opposite, but at the end of the day, it is going to have some kind of an impact because there are going to be legal ramifications. But at the same time, those three do have it. I mean, those two, I don't know about Casey Tron. I don't know a damn thing about Casey Tron. All I hear from people is that she's a pothead. I don't give a fuck. It's none of my business. But these other two, they're fucking assholes. Straight up. So fuck them.
I think if you read because someone leaked the court documents, so the actual, what they're alleging in this, it's very clear that he's not going after them because they reacted to the video. He's going after them for how they reacted to the video, right? Yeah. So Casey Tron, for example, got so stoned that she eventually just sat there stoned out of her mind, just farting the whole time. Not saying a word, literally just staring at the
Seems
screen.
reasonable.
Yeah. Denims would, for long periods of time, not even be there as it was going on.
We call that the Assange special.
Yeah. So he's going after them specifically because they didn't meaningfully react, right?
Tell you what, Akalon, why don't you have a conversation with my chair and I'll just be right back.
Let's go, right? I like the sound of my own voice. Let's do this. So guys, did you guys know that Rurikon is ragingly anti-woke?
Jesus Christ.
Dude, if you're going to leave, I could just say shit, right?
You can just say whatever you want, yeah.
And then just make sure that when you come back, I ask you a question where you go, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
and then I edit out my question and I just bring you back at the moment.
Seems-
We go,
seems
yeah,
reasonable.
absolutely. No,
But yeah, that's the
I think
that's the Ethan drama situation. Go
but
ahead.
I do think where your fears might not be, so you don't have to worry too much, is exactly that, right? He's not going after them for reacting, but instead doing what Hassan will do, doing what a lot of these lazy reactors do. Even XQC does this, where they'll watch a video, but they'll never talk, right? So they're basically watching the video, also learning about the topic as they go. Like, I've done this before on my streams where my audience will ask me to react to something, and I'll be like, guys, I don't know shit about this topic. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not going to add anything to this conversation. Yeah, one of my chat wanted to watch a video about black holes once. I'm like, dude, I don't know I know they exist. So I will literally go, oh, yes, I agree. And then I'll never speak again for 20 minutes because I wouldn't know any of the shit that he's saying. Like, actually, sir, mathematically, you're complete. I don't know shit about math. What am I going to say to this guy about his opinions? So I try to only react to stuff when I actually know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right? So
when we can contribute to something.
I can contribute. Otherwise, I'll just watch it after the stream when I just want to learn some funny stuff about something. Right? But yeah, more power to Ethan. The only problem I have is that Ethan wants to get the bag. What bag? None of these creators are rich.
He doesn't want to get the bag. He just wants to slap them. That's it.
Dude, he
goes so edgy on that video. Like, at the end of the video, he just goes like, and by the way, guys, if you want to support all these creators, you guys should definitely go support them. I'm hoping I can get some money after I pay my lawyer.
That's what it was about. I thought he was actually saying he wants the bag. So he's actually just going, go support them because I'm going to take that too.
He doesn't give a fuck if he gets the bag or not. He just wants to fucking slap him. He's got the money for it, dude. Like, he's one of the most successful podcasts on the whole fucking platform. Like, who cares?
Well, isn't Denim's like she's an OnlyFans model, no?
I don't fucking know.
I'm that's what I'm asking. I'm not sure, but maybe
I know that she's
an OnlyFans.
People call her like the Hassan waiting room. So like she goes live before Hassan, right? That's her whole shtick. So like the Hassan people all go to her chat while they're waiting for Hassan to go live.
Makes sense. Actually, she doesn't look like she has. I'm actually surprised she doesn't have an OnlyFans. But yeah, no. Seems like she's.
Were you going to subscribe to that shit? You're just like, oh fuck, let's go.
I was thinking if she has an OnlyFans, he could get the bag. You know, OnlyFans bitches make money, so he could literally clean her out. You know,
millions and millions. You know that she had like apparently, and this is like one of the important things for the lawsuit when she was reacting to the Sun content nuke, she had like 43,000 concurrents.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yeah. That's pretty big, huh?
That's good money.
Exactly.
That is good money.
Especially when you're like basically streaming it to 43,000 people and instructing those people, we're just stealing this content, by the way.
This is my content now.
If you enjoyed not supporting him and, throw a prime, it's like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, you're just digging, and no one knew that it's copyrighted, by the way.
Exactly. But imagine for a second, like we've done a lot of reactions to Bellular in the past, for 100%, right? Imagine it's just like being like, I mean, if you didn't want to watch Bellular because you didn't want to support him and you wanted to watch me instead, it's like, who the fuck does that? Like, what is wrong with you, dude?
True.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, actually true. Okay, sticking with the theme of the show, I'm going to throw in another topic that just wasn't even planned. Or, like, we didn't even know.
Perfect.
So
that's exactly what we needed.
I go on X because I want to see if Denims has an OnlyFans for research reasons. And I see Death Stranding 2 news. And I'm like, oh, well, this is interesting. So, Rurikon, did you know that Hideo Kojima literally changed halfway through production, started changing shit about Death Stranding 2 because the playtests were too good?
Yes. We already spoke about this in like a previous episode of the podcast.
We spoke about the fact that he hated the fact that the game was playtesting so well. I didn't know that he literally went and just changed it to make it worse so the playtesters would go, we don't like this part. Like, what?
Yes.
That is the most giga chat move ever.
Actually fucking based. I hope nobody likes it now.
Dude, imagine if he did actually change it to the point where no one likes it.
Kojima was probably mad when I reviewed the first one. He was like, this motherfucker liked it. Fucking bastard.
The reason I think...
make it worse.
Now, far be it from me to question Mr. Hideo Kojima, because I do think Hideo Kojima is probably one of the greatest game developers of his generation. I don't think there's many others that can do what he did, right? You look at Metal Gear Solid, you look at Death Stranding 1.
You know who agrees with you?
Yeah?
Jeff fucking Keighley. Did you know he's friends with Kojima?
Yeah. Jeff Keighley is good friends with Kojima, right? But Kojima is insanely good at what he does. But I will say, and we've spoken about this definitely in the past, the reason people didn't like Death Stranding 1 was because everyone thought Death Stranding 1 was just going to be Metal Gear Solid 6. People thought it was just going to be Metal Gear Solid. But once people figured out that, oh shit, Death Stranding 2 is not Metal Gear Solid, but it is insanely good, it was always going to be good because it is a great game. There's literally nothing wrong with the game. You just shouldn't go into it thinking this is Metal Gear Solid. So I'm sort of going, if he made changes, it is possible that he could have made changes to the point where he made the game worse, not better. Because now the people know what to expect. They're going to love what he's putting out, no?
I have no idea what goes on Kojima's mind, dude. Dude's got a messed up head, so yeah.
True. I won't question him.
For all I know, Death Stranding 2 is just a movie.
Yeah. You buy the game, start it.
It's just a fucking 60-hour movie. Doesn't give a fuck. Dude, he just goes like full unhinged.
I would just say it would be a brilliant movie.
Fucking based.
Dude, if they made a live action of Death Stranding, that's like, listen, slap.
I will judge Death Stranding 2 when I get around to playing it. That's all I'll say about that. Just like I judged the first one.
Why do I have this feeling that there's a series, there is a game that's now going to become a movie?
Because there is. It's, isn't it an Elden Ring? I think there's going to be an Elden Ring movie.
Elden Ring movie.
There's going to be an Expedition F33 movie as well, if I'm not mistaken.
An obscure movie.
There's a lot of games.
I feel like there's one more, but I can't remember. But I remember another game that's now being made into a movie that I
It's Death Stranding. I think Death Stranding is also getting a movie.
Dude, this is mind blowing.
That might be it. Isn't it?
If this is the result of Hollywood running out of ideas, just making games into movies, I think that's okay. As long as the movies are decent. You know, they don't have to be the best. For example, the Resident Evil movies are shit, but they're so shit they're fun. I enjoy the Resident Evil movies for the absolute nonsense that it actually is. So yeah, I'd be super happy. Is it Death Stranding 2?
I don't know. There's a Death Stranding entry on IMDb where they talk about, they say that it says it's in pre-production. I don't know how accurate this is, but yeah.
Let's go,
Death
Kojima.
Stranding animate, like, look, this was announced, Death Stranding's getting another movie. They say another one? There was already one?
When was that? Maybe the original game, because it plays like a movie, you know? That's the thing that got me excited, but we spoke about this last week. It's the series that is now becoming a video game. Owlcat working on Expanse.
On Expanse. Yeah, but like, listen, this is on Variety. Will there be a Death Stranding movie? Here Kojima breaks down the making of Death Stranding 2 on the beach, how the importance complexity of in-person conversation, blah, 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 and how production is moving along on A24's Death Stranding movie.
Based?
Yeah.
It's happening. And Hideo Kojima he's a massive fan. For those of you that don't know, he's a massive cinema fan. Like, you follow his Twitter.
What do you mean? For those of you who don't know,
because I think there are a lot of people that
Metal
don't
Gear
know him,
Solid
right?
4? It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I would say his games make it kind of obvious, but remember, there are people who just play games, right? They don't really give a shit. They don't really pay attention to anything that's happening outside of it. But if you follow his X, if he's not tweeting about some weird film that he watched, then this man does watch films from all over the world. Like, I've seen him tweet about Brazilian films, right? That came from Brazil, going, this is like an amazing film. Like, bro, you're not Brazilian. Why are you watching Brazilian films? No, he's busy, so he wanted to, right? Or books that he's reading that's from like some other countries that isn't even Japanese. So he clearly is he's a student of art. That's the best I can put it. So I feel like he would make good movies, because he loves that sort of thing. But
like, listen, I'm always going to err on the side of caution when it comes to Kojima. It's like, listen, when his product comes out, I will consume it and then I'll talk about it.
And like every other product that he's ever made, you'll go, "This is amazing, thank you, Kojima."
No, I haven't done that every time.
When did you not?
I mean, because there were a lot of them that I didn't play. I never played Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, 4 I played a little bit, but not even that much. And then I played 5.
But you're going to play 3, the remake, right? The remake of 3? You're going to play it. What?
I don't have time.
Bro, your job is to play video games. Get out of here with this. I don't have time. Of course you have time. That's your job.
Yeah, exactly. I have to play. I have to play. I want to play video games. Just like Metal Gear Solid's great, but it's not really my main genre.
No, you're not big on the story stuff, actually.
It's not big on the story stuff. I like story. I'm just saying, the whole stealth thing. I'm an Unga Bunga guy.
Yeah.
I like to play two ways. I get my Unga, and then I get my Bunga, and then I Unga Bunga.
No,
that's what I do.
Stealth is the best way to play games. What sucks about stealth, though, is it's never good to stream. Like, people don't like stream stealth because it's not as, it's not adrenaline.
People like Unga Bunga.
Whereas I love stealth. I love stealth. My Cyberpunk 2077 playthrough was full-blown trying to be as stealth as possible, never be seen by anyone. I love that shit. I live for that crap. But okay, so on to the next topic, because we're just consistently jumping to new topics here. Marathon. Now, Rurikon, I know that you are mega excited for Marathon. You told me in private that this is your most hyped game ever. Like, you want to stop making Monster Hunter content because you want to full focus on Marathon content forever and ever because of, one, just it's a really good game, and two, you love Bungie. Like, I remember you telling me that as well. So how do you feel knowing that it's been delayed indefinitely?
Devastated. I will never emotionally recover from this. Despite the fact that I've never even seen the latest trailers that people tell me they're real good. And I'm just like, I'm sure they are. Yeah. I'm sure they're fucking fantastic. I'm sure the game's amazing. Yeah. And I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of glazers, just like there are whenever I criticize Destiny and people come out of the woodwork to be like, actually, it's like, listen, Destiny has one thing, literally one thing, gunplay. That's it. It's got nothing else. Okay. That's what Destiny has. And so Marathon's getting delayed. I don't really care that much, but I guess it's like a big deal. It is likely going to be because they need to review their whole art pipeline. And they haven't been able to do so in a short period of time. Naturally, that's not what they're going to say, but we all know about the drama with the stolen assets from, what was her name? I forget her, Anti-Real, the username, Anti-Real, they stole a bunch of her shit. Yeah. And because she coded specific things into her designs, it's like, because of that, as they stole her shit, like those things that she coded into her designs were all stolen as well, and it's very easy to identify. Yeah. And everybody's like in full fucking panic mode. They did that live stream where the art director was just like dead on camera. He's like, what the fuck am I doing here? What am I doing with my life? Somebody get me the fuck out of here. I'm gonna die. So yeah, all of that took place, and now they're delaying it indefinitely. Now, what they're saying here is, through every comment and real-time conversation, social media, and Discord, your voice has been strong and clear.
Yep.
We've taken this to heart, and we know we need more time to craft Marathon into the game that truly reflects your passion. After much discussion within our dev team, we've made the decision to delay the September 23rd release. What they're actually saying is, we went to Sony and we sucked Herman Holst's dick dry and begged him for mercy.
Yeah.
And he was a merciful God, and he allowed us to delay this indefinitely. Now, they're saying that some of our immediate focus areas will be upping the survival game, doubling down on the Marathon universe, adding more social experience, blah, 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 blah. They're fucking jerking you off. Basically, what they're doing is art pipeline. We need to fix this fucking art pipeline. Once this game ships, it's still going to be an incomplete fucking mess, and that's what you can expect from Bungie.
I do feel some of the things that's being skipped over here is the first thing being the art and the art direction. They're actually going to take the game darker to be a bit more like the original Marathon games, which I think is one of my biggest criticisms of the game, is the game lacks soul. It looks bland and boring.
Yeah, they're gonna go to the gamma slider and they're gonna slide it down a little bit. It's darker.
Probably, right? But I think dark.
That's literally what they mean. They're like, we're going to slide the gamma down. It's darker now, just like you requested.
I think more dark and gritty is probably going to be good, right? Because this is trying to be an extraction shooter, right? It's trying to be sort of like an Escape from Tarkov. And I feel like in those games, stakes matter. So having it a bit more dark, a bit more gritty, because you want people to feel that sense of, oh shit, right?
I like it medium rare. Dark doesn't sound good. I like it medium rare.
Hey, your sexual preferences is your thing. I'm just saying, right?
Steak preferences, sir.
Well, you and I had a different read on what you just said there.
You said steaks. I was talking about steaks. What the fuck?
But no, I feel like it might actually work, right? If they go a little bit darker with it, just because it I think plays better with what the game is. Just lower the gamma. And then I think the big thing you skipped over is the fact that after insisting, because it was Bungie that said that they will not add proximity chat because proximity chat is toxic and it breeds toxicity, they are now saying we will be adding proximity chat. And
gamers are the most toxic people in the world. Shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of that, bro. I'm so fucking tired of it.
You see, but this is...
Bank managers are more toxic than gamers. Shut the fuck up, bro.
But this is what's funny to me, because the games media praised them for not adding proximity chat, right? Because this is a step directly against the toxicity of white male gamers.
There's no way.
And now they're adding it. Now they're adding it, right? And I'm just like, man, kick them in the teeth. I love when you kick them in the teeth. Thank you. Thank you for that. Because it's one of the things that, how can you, and this is where it's just one of the most retarded things that you can stand on. You're making a game where working together is super important. And you're not giving people the ability to actually communicate with one another to work together, right? It's just unheard of. There's no way that this will fly. So I'm glad that they are bringing in proximity chat. I still think that there's such an easy way to do it. All you have to do is literally allow for Discord integration into your game, and done. You've made it. Just if it's integrated, Discord can do the proximity chat shit without too much effort. But no, they're probably going to work on their own thing. But I think it's still interesting.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Next story we have here is Borderlands 4. And, okay. So you know how we've been talking for quite a bit on this podcast about my severe and utter hatred of the mainstream media. And I've basically said it probably in every episode.
Why do they keep shooting themselves in the foot? Like, stop.
I hate them.
Stop.
I hate them because of stuff like
Shooting
this.
themselves in the foot.
So, for those of you that don't remember, we had Randy Pitchford, that bastion of
good old Randy.
Chaos
we
in the
go
gaming
way back.
industry. Let's say that.
Me and Randy. He's a magician. You know he's a magician?
Yeah, I know he's a magician.
He's got them long fingers.
Yeah. I mean, Randy Pitchford is a character. Let's just say he's a character. But if you guys remember when there were talks about the pricing of Borderlands 4, he was going on this whole thing about how, he's not in charge of pricing, but even if the game is $80, if you really want to play Borderlands, if you love Borderlands, you'll find a way. And then he made up a fact, like just completely invented a fact about a game back in the 90s that was $80. And he would work hard and mow lawns and shit to buy the game. And then other people actually went and looked at what the game actually cost. And they were like, this game was not $80 at all back in the 90s. But never mind that. He just invented it.
But it was worth $80. It is worth $80 now, based on the currency that it was worth back then.
Yeah. But
clearly, I made it work.
Yeah. Just invented a bunch of facts. And sort of that's Randy Pitchford. Right. Then there was outrage, right? From a lot of gamers, from a lot of commentators. The outrage was effectively just how absolutely tone deaf that is. In a time where most people are struggling to make ends meet, in a time where most people aren't even happy with the $70 price tag, let alone an $80 or a $90 price tag, this man has the guile to say that, look, if you're a fan, you'll find a way. You're
going to make it work.
Yeah, that is sort of the equivalent, or the modern day equivalent of going, let them eat cake. Like, that's literally what it is, even though technically she never actually even said that, and it's a complete sort of fabrication of history. But it's the modern day equivalent of that, right? Is to just say, let them eat cake. And so, obviously, massive outrage. Then, during the week, they come out and they announce the actual pricing. And it turns out that, and this is where my first real issue comes, when Randy Pitchford goes onto X, and he announces that he's so glad that there is no pricing increase on Borderlands 4. It is only $69.99. And I immediately respond with, bro, that's literally a $10 price increase. What the hell are you talking about? I think what you were meant to say is, I'm happy to announce that we're not increasing the price even further to $79.99. We're only going to be increasing it by $10. But don't bullshit.
I think that what they've done is they've effectively normalized $70 already. Like in everyone's head, $70 has been normalized. So
everyone except the gamers who still remember that some games cost $60. But you are right? Because even Kotaku and them pretended like it was zero increase. I still made a tweet where I was like, the party wants you to know that games have always been $70, right? Because that's literally what it is now. All the media just pretends like $69.99 has been the historical price point for all video games.
Of course, yes.
And what's really egregious in what this topic is about, Kotaku and the mainstream media then pretends like we are the ones that overreacted because we were so upset about the game's price that we didn't even realize that the game was always just going to be $70. Even though that is quite legitimately not true. No one knew what the price was going to be, right?
I'm just curious if the person who wrote this article wiped their mouth before or after they wrote the article.
You mean you think they still had a salty taste in their mouth while they were writing the article?
I don't know what it tastes like.
Well, I've heard it's salty, so we'll go with that, right? We'll go with that. I don't know. Maybe Randy eats a lot of pineapple. In which case I've heard it maybe doesn't. I don't know, right? But okay, I get what you mean.
We're going down a very dark rabbit hole, Akalon.
Yeah, we're going to have to move this podcast to the hub. Yeah, where we can actually have this conversation.
Pineapple? What the fuck?
Dude,
Does he ingest those pineapples anally? Like, what?
In movies, there's oftentimes the jokes where they'll go, eat some pineapple every once in a while. So I'm assuming it has some effect on your semen taste.
I heard that you were a nice little Christian boy. What type of movies are you watching?
Bro,
where
I
they're
wasn't
talking about
always
eating
a Christian
pineapple
boy.
for semen taste. Like, what the fuck?
First, I wasn't always a Christian boy. And
I'm going to go buy some pineapple today, bro.
Dude, hey, whatever you want to do your thing, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it. I'm just going to be like, dude, I cannot be the only person that I've ever heard that has heard that in movies. Like, let us know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that has heard that in movies.
That's some degenerate fucking
not just
shit, bro.
hub movies.
Anyway,
not just hub movies. Actual Hollywood.
Oh, not
movies.
just hub, but also
hub movies. Probably also, right? It could be everywhere. Because again, I wasn't always a nice Christian boy.
Cooking yourself in real time, brother.
Dude, I have never hit the fact that I have walked every path. I've committed every type of sin under the sun.
Okay.
I am not holy in any way, shape, or form. Right?
Getting back to this, who was the person that wrote this article?
Oh, man. Now you're asking me questions that I'm going to have to go to.
You said it's a Kotaku article where they are basically saying that we overreacted over the $80 game, and it was never going to be that. It's funny because apparently we were the only ones that weren't smart enough not to know that. Like, let's just get down to the fucking brass tacks of this, okay? Everybody knows what this was, okay? Every single person in the gaming industry knows this. That includes the gamers. Yeah. This was market research, okay? They had Randy Pitchford go out there and spew some bullshit nonsense. They were like, hey, Randy, see if you can sell them on the idea of our video game being $80. Yeah. Randy tried it, and then he came back to them, guys, it's not going to work. People fucking hate me now. And they were like, okay, well, we'll make it $70 then. It was literally that. It was market research. And anybody who tries to spin any story that is different from that does not have your best interests at heart. It's just that simple. And now I'm speaking against myself because I found myself in a position earlier in the podcast where I'm like, hey, listen, I don't think it's that extreme. And now here I am going like, yep, these people fucking hate you. Like, what the fuck? Like, who writes articles like this?
I'm just telling you, you don't hate the games media enough. That's all I'll say. But here's the exact article from Kotaku. It says Borderlands 4 reveals $70 price tag, proving all the drama was for nothing. And it's written by Zach Sweezen.
No idea who this person. Zach
Sweezen.
You need Jesus. Zach, that's what you need. Okay?
Zach is a moron. Zach is a moron. And
I don't know. I'd have to read the whole article before I make that claim. But for him to just like saying like, oh, you guys overreacted over nothing. It's like, no, we overreacted. I mean, not even we, because personally, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about Borderlands. Okay. I haven't given a fuck about Borderlands since Borderlands 2. Okay. Because it's like, it was funny. It was real funny playing Borderlands 2. Got to the end. I was like, I've had enough of these jokes. That was cool. Enjoyed it. Cool beans. Go do something else now. And then they just kept going and going and going and going and going.
Okay. So I can tell you that Zach is a moron because I'm just quickly going through his articles, right? And here's one where he goes, while everything gets worse, it's nice that the Switch 2 just works. My phone, computer, and TV are getting worse, but Nintendo's new console bucks this trend. And I've never heard of anyone going, my TV is suddenly not working. What the hell are you talking about? Most people buy TVs and they just work. Phones just work. Computers just work, but somehow Nintendo doesn't just work. What the hell are you talking about, you son of a bitch? What are you talking about? So that sort of tells you everything you need to know about this individual writing articles about nonsense. But of course, that's exactly it, right? You are absolutely correct. This was market testing. They were tasting to see, would gamers accept the $90 game? Would gamers accept $100? Because remember, all of the gaming industry is still waiting for
Just wait until GTA 6.
GTA
6 is going to like you thought Nintendo raked you over the hole. Just wait until GTA 6. They're gonna give it to you real good. You're gonna like it. They're gonna tap that ass. They're gonna come up to you and they're gonna be like, "You like that shit? Yeah."
I know that I'm not. I know I'm being a gullible little fool, right? I'm being a gullible little dove, but a part of me sort of goes, what if Rockstar doesn't increase the price at all and just keeps it at $60? What if? Just imagine that world. If that's just what they do. And you're like, oh, well.
So listen, Akalon, you remember that we talked about that bridge that we're selling on Mars.
I'll buy it.
I can cut you in early.
I'll buy it,
brother. I got you. I'm on the phone right now with Elon. We're texting. Okay?
Yeah. I'll buy it.
Me and my boy Elon will fix it. He's one of your guys, so you're good.
True. Oh crap! I just saw Lies of P. 3 million puppets or 3 million humans. Matters not. We hope you enjoyed your stay at crap.
They got the 3 million?
Yeah.
Cool beans.
3 million and...
Cool beans.
What's a little sad here, right, is that they don't give us the amount of players. Because that's really what we need, right? Like, they're just going on the old copy sold thing. Like, tell us how many players you have, bro. That's what we really need to know. But okay, so talking about...
I'm happy for him. Like, listen, I have a love-hate relationship with Lies of P, but I'm super happy that the game is that successful because I will say one thing, specifically for you, if you're able to overcome the difficulty, because it's a very hard game, you would love the story in that game. Story in that game is really good.
Yeah, I imagine I would. Right, and it's definitely something. It's on my list of games that I want to play. Right now, I'm just struggling with the altars.
Like, do you know the actual story of Pinocchio? Like, not the Disney version?
No, I know it's rough.
It's really fucked up. Yeah. It's like, listen, I learned about it when I was like, damn, the Pinocchio story is fucked up, bro. Like, what the fuck? And it's supposed to be a kid's story. It's like, scare them kids straight.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I definitely intend to play it. Especially now that they have a difficulty slider, I could just go in there and make it.
Oh yeah, right. You can just play the easy mode.
Yeah. But okay. So speaking of, 3 million copies sold, another milestone is for Stellar Blade that managed to sell 3 million copies.
Hey, but I hear that some of those copies don't count because they're from China.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Guys, it's
the same thing. You remember that they said the same thing about Wukong, like when Wukong reached 2 million players or whatever was on Steam. They're like, well, it's not fair because they're Chinese players.
Yeah, obviously.
And everybody knows Chinese players don't count as much.
But
it's like when you start listening, like it. I mean, if we just call it what it is, it's just kind of racist. It's just kind of racist.
I don't know if we have any Asians watching. But if you are Asian, I would like you to know that the media thinks you don't count as much as white people do. Like, and Asmongold actually came up. Asmongold came up with a nice little equation where he said, "What if we made it
2 to 5 or something?"
Yeah. What if we made it like for every one Asian player, or for every one white player, like equals like 3 or 4 Asian players. Right?
So fucked up.
Hey, we could always do that if that's what they want to do.
I remember that the PC Gamer article, I don't know if they've changed it because, usually if they get too much backlash, they'll just change shit.
Yeah.
But I remember that the PC Gaming article specifically said, and you can thank Chinese players for these copies. And it's like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
Is there money?
That's all I want to know. But it's such a fucked up thing to say. You can thank the Chinese players. The fuck does that supposed to mean?
Dude, I don't.
It's fucked up, bro. It's just fucked up. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't even want to get too deep into it. To me, it's just fucked up.
Your boy Paul Tassi was also in on this. He was also saying Chinese players are doing it, and
you need to not call him my boy.
He's your boy, bro. He's your boy. You're friends with him, personal friends, best buddies. Right?
I like reacting to some of his content. It's funny. Okay.
But no,
I don't want him to be mad. I want him to get better. Okay. He's gonna listen. I'm gonna call it here. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul Tassi is going to eventually go on a massive redemption arc. You're gonna regret what you've said.
I highly doubt it.
We need to have faith in people. Okay. Nope. Wait, you're religious. You need to believe in the best of people. Okay.
I do believe in the best of him.
You need to believe that he has the capacity for good.
No, I don't have to believe that. Like,
wait, what
I don't
the
believe
fuck?
that. I do not believe that he has.
Isn't that a part of the Christian faith that you have to believe in the people capacity for good?
I have to love him, right? Because he's human and he's made in the image of God.
You're not loving him,
but it is hard.
You're not doing.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that, bro. It is hard. It is hard watching
then
people.
You have to love him,
but it's hard.
He's your boy now.
Well, here's the thing, right? It's very hard to do. Right, it's very hard because I'm watching this guy.
I'm memeing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But just on that topic, I do find it super difficult because I'm watching these people destroy the hobby that I love, try to destroy the culture that I love, and I'm just like, oh man, part of me just wants to see these people get their comeuppance, and I'm supposed to forgive them for their bullshit, but it's like sometimes you just want to go.
I'm telling you. Paul Tassi is going to surprise all of us. Okay,
maybe
he's not there yet.
Dude, his own wife doesn't want to deal with these bullshit. Like, okay, I'm being super facetious.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He tweeted this out. No. I'm just gonna go with his tweet. Right?
Family is fucked up.
No.
We've agreed on this.
No, I'm not going after his wife actually, right? Because he tweeted this out. I don't think it actually happened, right? But I did make a joke about this because he tweeted out that he got home and his wife asked him, "Hey, honey, how was your day?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm just being called gay online because I happen to like a game that the gamers didn't like. So nothing." And his wife was just like, "Oh, well, come help me put this thing together." And I just tweeted out his own wife can't deal with his bullshit and just moved on, right? Which, again, I don't think it actually happened, so I don't think you are going after wives. And he mentioned her first, right? So I think it's fair game. But no, I don't necessarily think that it's impossible for people like Paul Tassi to wake up. I think it's hard, especially if you're stuck inside that sort of mindset, if you're stuck inside that world. Because remember, if you're Paul Tassi, every single one of your friends is far left, right? Every single person you hang out with is far left. Every single person you work with is far left.
Let's not bring politics. Let's not bring politics into this.
This isn't politics. This is cultural, right? From a cultural perspective, he is far left.
You're already going left, right, all of that shit. Listen,
because
let me
that's
just
what
put
it
it to
is.
you like this.
Yeah.
You've criticized his review of Veilguard. He's already admitted publicly that he wouldn't give that same score and that he kind of regrets giving it that score.
But why did he give that score?
He doesn't agree.
Why did he give that score?
Because that's how he felt at the time. He was probably in a honeymoon phase. Doesn't surprise me.
Well, why would anyone be in a honeymoon phase with that game? It didn't. It took me 4 minutes to realize I hate this game.
Listen, when I played Dark Souls 2, one of the first videos that I've made, I said, this is just Dark Souls 1, but better.
Okay.
I was wrong.
Okay.
I was wrong. I was in a honeymoon phase because I was just having so much fun with the game that I wasn't thinking that clearly about it.
Okay.
And so I can see somebody getting very enamored with Veilguard and be like, oh yeah, I was having fun, boop, boop, boop. And they just do their review and it's like, yeah, 9 out of 10, fantastic, loved it, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's since recognized, like, no, another situation. He gave Path of Exile 2 a bunch of shit. And then eventually, like, he went back, he took in people's criticism. He's like, actually, the game's pretty fun. So it's like, you see some of these changes, and I want to be like, I want to believe the best in people. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I get wrong. Lots of things wrong, so whatever.
I think what happened was, it is impossible to defend Dragon Age the Veilguard unless you're the gamer, of course, writing an article about how fans now feel bad for attacking Dragon Age the Veilguard. And the entire article is based on a single Reddit comment. Like, one dude made a Reddit comment. Most of the people in the Reddit comment, by the way, most of the replies
I just want to make it sure.
Roasts the guy.
Listen,
Yeah.
Everything I said on my critique of Veilguard, I want everybody to be aware. I meant every single fucking word of it. Okay.
But apparently, fans are now
I regret
apologizing.
nothing.
Right? Apparently, fans are now apologizing. But anyone with any sort of brain would realize that Dragon Age the Veilguard is literally indefensible because it almost killed the studio that made it. Right? So Paul Tassi obviously knew, I can't stand behind this game. In the same is true, I think, for Path of Exile 2. I don't think Paul Tassi recognizes that he makes mistakes. I think Paul Tassi goes wherever the wind blows. Right? So when the wind blows in a specific direction and he realizes, shit, okay, this is going to kill my career, he very quickly changes his mind. Otherwise, he sticks with it. Because as long as there's not clear lines, he will always go with the more progressive wing. So I'm not entirely convinced that he is growing because I don't see that growth. I see him making the same mistakes over and over again. And even in the fact that he blocked me, right? And I don't care that he blocked me, but the reason he blocked me is because I challenged his assertion that wokeness had nothing to do with the failure of Dragon Age the Veilguard. And I'm like, hold on. You can say that you think wokeness maybe had 5% or maybe had 10% reason, but you can't say that it had nothing to do with it, right? That is just the most retarded take in the history of the world. But, consistently he stands on attention on that point. So now I'm not entirely convinced by Mr. Tassi.
What? That is, it's the 50th time you bring it. I just don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Dude, I'm never going to let that go. It's sort of like you when it comes to Blizzard stealing your money, right?
No, here's what I'll say
stealing
about
people's
that.
money again, just by the way. I just remembered one of my viewers.
It doesn't surprise me.
One of my viewers just said, I should tell you, literally said, I should tell you that Diablo 4's new Reliquary Battle Pass system is even worse than
with the dark
players originally thought. They are making it so that it scams people outright for shit. So, just wanted to mention that.
It's like, listen, here's what I have to say in regards to that, like just real quickly on the Diablo bullshit. Yeah. Here's what I have to say. You motherfuckers get what you fucking deserve. That's what you fucking get. All of you motherfuckers that came into my thread and you said, skill issue. Maybe you should look where you're clicking. Despite the fact that the developers themselves, like Pipora, whatever his name is, he came into my thread and he's like, no, this was wrong of us. But everybody came in there like, oh, I'm so smart. I'm going to suck Blizzard's dick. You get what you fucking deserve. And I hope they rob you more. I hope they take all of your fucking money. I hope you have to mortgage your fucking house. Get fucked. All of you.
Wow.
Yeah, fuck them, dude. Like all these fucking people defending the bullshit practice of the dark pattern on Diablo 4. Yeah. Get fucked, dude. Get absolutely railed by Blizzard for like
Rurikon hates Blizzard players as much as I hate the media.
Like what the fuck, bro? Like not Blizzard players. I'm talking specifically about these motherfuckers that same people that came out of the woodwork when I was criticizing Diablo over the fucking 3 days of early access. They were like, oh, what are you, poor? It's like, hey, what are you, poor? You don't like Blizzard stealing your money? That's too fucking bad, bitch. Suck my dick. I don't give a fuck.
But you wanted to talk about the other thing before I mentioned this to you because I needed to bring it up.
Well, what was the other thing? I'm kind of lost now.
The whole Paul Tassi, what were we talking? The woke bullshit with you. I say to you, it's sort of like the same thing that I have as you with the Blizzard stuff, right? The fact that they stole and you will not stop talking about it. It's the exact same thing because all I want is
I know what I wanted to
acknowledgement,
say.
Right? Yeah,
I know what I wanted to say.
Yeah, go for it.
If you're gonna keep bringing it up, you have to finish the game.
No, why?
Otherwise, shut the fuck up about it forever.
You can't say that because we're once back to what the conversation we had. Because by that logic,
I take it all back.
All that by your very logic just now, right? By your very logic just now, you cannot tell me that eating a bowl of shit would not be good for you because you haven't eaten a bowl of shit yet.
whatever. I don't want to talk about this. I'm so done with this because I already know where this goes, and it always ends the same way, and I'm done. I don't agree with you. There.
It's fine. You okay, what don't you agree with? Let me just ask that. What don't you agree with?
No.
If you're going to say you don't agree, what don't you agree with? What did I say that you went... No, I don't agree with
Watch the last 10 podcasts.
No,
I'm good.
Hold up. Right? Because you say...
I want to talk about the next topic.
Yeah, we'll go to the next topic in a second. But since this is Mythic Banter, let's actually just quickly... Because I really just want to ask, right? If my take is that if you're going to talk about what failed Dragon Age the Veilguard, you should at least include the possibility of politics playing some kind of role. If you don't agree with that take, I'm not sure how you can be objective in your criticisms of any game.
I did criticize the woke aspects of it in my review.
I know you did. I'm
just saying, not at the same level as you did.
No,
that's it.
It's fine.
There you go.
Right?
There's different levels.
No,
there.
But that's
boom.
What you just said there, absolutely fine.
Okay,
but remember, you just said to me, you disagree with what I said about Paul Tassi. But that's literally what I said about Paul Tassi. He criticizes Dragon Age the Veilguard, but still literally said to me, politics had nothing to do with the failure of Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, am I wrong? Because you said you don't agree with what I said. So I'm wrong for saying that Paul Tassi has his head up his ass if that is his take. Because even you that aren't political at least criticize the fact that it's a cringe storyline, right? That doesn't really work in the story.
I've also said that's not the main reason why it fails.
Yeah, that's fine. I literally say to you, I started this by saying, even if you want to say, because I never said that's the main reason the game failed. The game has a lot of reasons for failing, right? But you have to at least acknowledge that it's one of the reasons, or even potentially one of the reasons for why it failed.
Yes.
That's why the media sucks, bro. Because they're biased and they won't even admit it. That's why I hate them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't just go, okay, you're the one who challenged me on this.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the. I don't want to talk about Veilguard again. Like, listen.
We're not
I played the whole game. I already had to suffer through it once. Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing that saved it was that I could play a dwarf. That's fine. The best thing about that game.
It's fine.
And I could throw my shield.
Yeah, that's great. That's it. Right? That's great. Yes. We're not talking about Dragon Age. Okay. We're talking about Paul Tassi.
Listen. Okay. Stellar Blade sold 3 million copies. That's the important part.
We're done with that. Okay? We're done with that topic. As long as we are both in agreement that the media sucks and they're liars and they're cheats and they're scumbags, we're good to go. Let's move on to the next topic.
Fuck you. Oh, God.
No.
Bro, if you were a cop, you would do the entrapment special every time.
100%, bro. That's what I'm going to edit out your middle finger and I'm just going to go with you agreeing with me on that.
Blur it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no, okay, so on to the next topic. Witcher 4.
Oh, I'm sure you like this one, Akalon. It's your favorite studio. Come on, be happy. Have a big smile. Come on. Go ahead.
I do love CD Projekt Red. Or I should say I used to love CD Projekt Red. I'm not entirely convinced how I don't know how good they're going to be now. Because they have.
That's almost like you going to Facebook and updating your relationship status to it's complicated.
Yeah, well, my relationship with CD Projekt Red is incredibly complicated, right? For a number of reasons. One of the main ones being the fact that Witcher 4 already has story problems. Though we won't go in again because we've discussed it already on the channel. But there are problems with the story of Witcher 4. Then they do this whole showcase, right, with Unreal, focusing on a bunch of nonsense that no one gives a shit about, like horse muscles.
Those horse muscles were important. They were important, Akalon.
I believe you. I believe you. The problem is just that right after that, the horse has armor, which means you're not even seeing the muscles, but never mind. You know, it is what it is. Maybe
you might find a wild horse.
Maybe.
And then you might pull out some binoculars and then you might actually get a glimpse of that, except it's not going to look like that. It's going to be all pixelated and janky and blurry.
Yep.
But, you know.
But hey, you know, it is what it is. And then they come out and they basically say that the game, and I want you guys to understand how retarded this is. They say the game is being made for consoles first. And so they're developing it from a console-centric perspective. When all of the available data shows that PC dwarfs console. PC is now the largest market in video games. If anything, well, of the actual video game platforms, we're not talking about mobile here, because your average stay-at-home mom isn't playing Witcher 4, so it's perfectly fine, right? But
she should, though.
Yeah, she should actually. Get yourself a wife that plays Witcher. But just the idea that in 2025, when PC is exploding, when handheld portable PCs are exploding, you're going, yeah, we're making this game for consoles first. Like, our main focus is making this game work on consoles. And I already know why they're doing it. It's as a result of the failures of Cyberpunk 2077. Because Cyberpunk 2077 worked reasonably well on PC, it absolutely did not work on PlayStation 4, and even PlayStation 5 had serious problems with Cyberpunk 2077. It's just that, what do you make of this? Let me ask you, because I'm just annoyed at this.
Here's what I make of this. It's Unreal Engine 5, okay? Fuck Unreal Engine 5. I fucking hate it. I can't stand the glazing that people do for Unreal Engine 5. It's going to come up a little bit later in the show as well.
Yep.
And they probably just figured that, hey, we can really optimize this to run really well on consoles, and it's going to run like shit on PCs. So we can already tell people, hey, get ready. It's going to run like shit on your PC because it's going to be a fucking port, okay?
Yeah.
The way that I've always looked at it is every single video game should always be done with a PC first approach, and then you downscale towards consoles. Then you tweak the visuals towards consoles, and you do proper optimization for each of those platforms, which, if we are to be completely and utterly honest, since the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One days, consoles are basically PCs. The difference is they can utilize their hardware more effectively because they don't have this bloatware that we call Windows on it. This is the reason why, everybody's always saying like, oh, I can make a PC that's just like this console, except it's fucking not, because you have fucking Windows that does a piss poor management of your resources. Unless somebody out there wants to actually come and say, actually, Windows operating system's really optimized.
Well, it isn't, because we know that the Xbox handheld runs a new version of Windows that removes the bloat and the bullshit.
Of course.
So anyone that says...
But there are some people out there that are going to be disingenuous to the level of saying, like, actually, Windows is really optimized, which, if that is the hill you're going to die on the fucking Windows hill, good fucking luck, brother. I am following you there. And I'm speaking as somebody who is mainly playing on PC now, by the way.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, I've always thought that, to me, what you got to do is you got to do it on PC, and then you downscale it so that it's playable on consoles. Yeah. Okay. That is the best approach always, because most of the time, whenever a port is coming from consoles towards PC, it usually runs like shit on PC. That's usually the way that it goes. So them developing it console first is a bad idea. Yeah. Them developing it on Unreal Engine 5 is a terrible idea. And we all know that most likely this is going to have built-in ray tracing, just like slotted in, enabled by default, which is like, this is the Unreal Special nowadays. You just get the built-in ray tracing. Why? It's easier. We don't have to do calculations. Like, I don't give a fuck if it's easier for you. Look at the effect that it has on gaming computers for gamers around the world. It fucking blows chunks. And we still have people defending RTX. Even in our own comment section, there's some fucking RTX glazers out there that are coming out of the fucking woodwork going like, actually, RTX is real good. RTX is dog shit, bro. Yeah. I can't believe we can't even agree on that. It's dog shit. Like, we're going to be talking about something else soon, which is the Xbox thing. But it's like, listen, what you need to know about this is that what people want is performance.
Yeah.
We don't need the best visuals. We need performance. Like, actual fucking gamers want 60 FPS. That's what they want. Will they play 30? Sure. If there's like some type of hardware limitation, whatever, yeah, sure. But the game should be optimized to run on 60 FPS. And you can scrap all those fucking horse muscles. The horse can be fucking squared for all I care. It can be a fucking square.
Yeah.
It can look like a table. I don't give a fuck. Make it run at 60 FPS for the love of God. It's like, that's it.
I absolutely agree with you on all of this, right? So I think the biggest problem is, and this should definitely also be mentioned. You have to understand, if you're working in the games industry and you're making your game, console is a hell of a lot easier to optimize for. First, because it doesn't have the bloatware of Windows, but then also because there's not as much variation. Right? Everything on a console is built for these specific things that it contains.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Witcher 4 is going to run better on my AMD GPU.
Yeah, most likely, right? Most likely it is going to, but I think
get fucked, NVIDIA losers. Hey-oh!
But you see, that's sort of the so absolutely agree with you. The issue is just that if you make it for consoles first, so you're trying to optimize it for the easiest platform to optimize it for, you basically, because usually how this will work is optimization happens last. So you're leaving yourself the least amount of time to optimize for the hardest platform, which is PC. And
Seems
since
reasonable.
that's the number one platform that people are playing games on these days, you're going to have a big issue because you're already stuck. Like, guys, I cannot stress enough what the uphill battle is for CD Projekt Red. They've made a game that most people fall in love with. They called this game Witcher 4, right? But it's going with Ciri as the next Witcher, which is probably fine. The only problem, of course, is that most people who play these RPGs are male. They're not female. And so you're already going to have a hard time trying to convince men to play with Ciri. It's not impossible, but you sometimes need, like Stellar Blade use the gooning thing. That gets men right over the bullshit and they'll immediately go for it. But there is a little bit extra, like a hurdle that you have to go over. So that's already making it a little bit uphill. Now you're going, hey, we're also not really going to pay attention to the largest gaming platform. We're going to pay attention to consoles instead. And say, oh, wow, I wonder how this is going to work out for you. Because if this game launches in a terrible state
it's a
on
bold
PC,
strategy, Cotton.
it's done, right? It's dead. Because at least with Witcher 3, because it also launched in a terrible state. Just to be clear, people sometimes have rose-colored. Witcher 3 did not launch in a great state. But
yes, that is true. People a lot of times forget that when Witcher 3 actually came out, it ran like shit.
Yeah, it was broken.
That's the other thing that's always funny. It's always funny to me. I'm like, people are like, oh man, Witcher 3 was perfect. It's like,
no.
I mean, it's a fantastic game, yes, but it didn't come out like all that well optimized.
No.
Like, where'd you get that fucking idea? Were you around during the release of Witcher 3? Like, what the fuck? The game was crashing left, right, and center. What do you mean?
It was a buggy mess.
It's crazy.
Today, Roach is a buggy mess, right? Even today, the horse doesn't work. So, and it was much worse at launch, just FYI. Like, your horse would be on roofs, on top of walls that you can never get to, and then your horse is just bugged that you have to run away in order to get it back. So fundamentally, Witcher 3 was a buggy mess. But because it was Witcher, people were willing to give it time. Witcher 4 isn't going to have that time. If Witcher 4 comes out and it's a buggy mess, people will just immediately move on. They'll be like, never mind, we'll go to the next thing. And I feel like that's the real problem here. That's the thing that well, we'll see, right? I don't think things are going to go well.
I hope it does fantastic. I hope it does fantastic.
Same. I want it to be good. I want games to be good. It's the same thing I said about Borderlands 4. It's the same thing I'm saying about every other game. I want games to be good. The problem is just that sometimes games failing may actually be better in the long run because it gets the gaming industry to ask some serious questions about themselves, which is super important. But okay, so talking about what is super important, Xbox.
The next generation of Xbox. So Sarah Bond put out a video where they're saying, we are partnering with AMD, which, you know what that tells us?
No, what?
Fuck all. It doesn't tell us anything because, both consoles use AMD GPUs already. So it's like, we're partnering with AMD to make custom silicone. It's like
you've been doing
for the Xbox One and the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X and even PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation 5. You mean like that?
Yeah.
Okay. You're basically you're doing the same thing you've done this whole time.
Great.
Good fucking job, bro.
What an announcement.
There you fucking go. And then, one of the things that kind of called out to my attention that is always exceedingly frustrating is them going like, we are going to unlock a deeper level of visual quality. And I'm just like, who asked? Who's asking for a deeper level of visual quality? I guarantee you that if there's almost nobody that actually plays video games that is going like, well, yeah, I need 8K textures, 8K textures, because that's what they're focusing on. Yeah. That's the thing. They just want to do 8K. Yes, 8,000. Big number. Big fucking let's actually type out the whole actual 8K resolution. Like for 4K for 3,840 by 2160. Let's just type it all out.
Yeah.
Because it's a big fucking number we can put in the box. It's like, it frustrates me because what you should be focusing on is we are going to unlock a deeper level of performance. Yeah. That's what we fucking want. Frames. More frames.
Yep.
No, but they're like, no, it's a deeper level of visual quality. We're going to enhance it with the power of AI. So fake frames.
Yep.
Fake resolutions. Let's fucking go, baby. So they're doing the same thing. They're also saying we're going to ensure compatibility. But here comes the important part. Multiple storefronts. So the next Xbox system, it's going to be just like that ROG Ally that you saw. That's the next Xbox system. Yeah. It's going to be the same thing. So they're going to have Steam on there, Epic, Microsoft. It would be interesting if they had the PSN store.
I think someone...
But PlayStation...
Someone saw...
I don't think PlayStation's going to let that.
On this, someone saw a leaked screenshot of the PSN store on on this handle because apparently it's unlocked.
There's no...
You can add your own storefront.
It is unlocked,
right? Yeah. So you can add
but, the PSN. So they're saying that they're currently focused on making Windows the #1 platform for gaming.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm all for that. Make Windows improvements and all of that. But like, I'm gonna tell you, if good old Uncle Gabe gives us like proper Steam OS, I would rather have that because I don't have faith in Microsoft to really properly optimize Windows anymore. I'm sorry. I don't like. I use your operating system because I have to.
Yeah, because I
don't have a fucking choice. Because if I had a fucking choice, I would drop it like that.
And before I know there's a lot of people in Linux,
they're going to say,
no.
Linux is going to... It's like, listen, I've done Linux, and I agree. You can do everything that I'm doing. You can do it with Linux. Here's the issue. The moment like there's a software update or something, I'm going to be set back like 1-2 weeks waiting for the Linux side to catch up.
Not just
and
that,
people are gonna be like, well, why don't you just code the solution yourself? Because I ain't got the fucking time, bitch.
Well, because I don't know how to code shit. But also,
I know how to code shit, but I don't have the time. Like I barely have time to see my children. You want me to, let me just like put everything on Linux and then it's like whenever something new comes out that somehow makes everything not work, I'll just code the solution. It's like, no. Well, you can work, but there's always going to be downsides.
Yeah, but
so I have to use Windows.
A lot of Linux systems also, if you're playing any game that has sort of anti-cheat, they tend not to work on Linux. So those games would be completely out of the question. Right, and you do play games that are more competitive sometimes, which will eventually.
It's like,
some
listen,
of them do have the
Mudahar, who has a better understanding of Linux than I did, has made how many videos saying that he's like, oh man, I'm totally making the switch. I'm just going to be full on Linux from now on and fuck Windows and my virtual machines and all of these things. And then eventually there's another video comes out. It's like, actually guys, I'm just going to focus on removing the bloatware from Windows because I fucking quit. It's like, of course you quit.
Yeah.
Because there's no fucking solution. Everybody likes to act like there's this miracle that they can pull off on Linux. And it's like, listen, more power to you, brother. More power to you. Some of us that have to actually use this operating system to work and to be updated on a regular basis, we can't do that. It doesn't work.
I think the biggest problem with specifically things like Linux is the fact that on Windows, you will have most of these companies working with Windows to update their shit and make sure that it operates. But because Linux is so fractured, right? Because there are so many different instances of Linux and so many different versions of Linux, they don't care, right? And so you're never going to have the same level of quality, the same level of experience on Linux than what you will have on Windows. It's just not going to happen. The best we can hope for is that Steam actually figures their shit out, and this is the thing that actually excites me a little about this new Xbox handheld. Because the new Xbox handheld comes with they literally took the engineers of Xbox and they put them with the engineers of Windows. And the engineers of Xbox figured out how to shave off all of the bullshit and provide a platform that just cares about video games.
And that's the operating system that their next generation of Xbox is going to have.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm hoping
hopefully the next
fix Windows. But I'm not holding my breath.
No.
Because I know for a fact they're going to fuck it up. They're going to fuck it up 6 ways from Sunday.
I would switch immediately. If there was a new version of Windows that I could just go and click and say, install gamer Windows, immediately.
Gamer Windows.
Immediately.
Windows G.
Yeah, Windows G. The big G, right? Like
the funny thing is that would probably be really popular in Japan because you know that G is like a big thing there. That's why Monster Hunter expansions would be called Monster or something G.
And in China,
it's the G
they
rank.
Call it G.
So it'd be a big deal in Japan.
In China, they could go Windows G for Xi Jinping. So sounds the same, which means selling for everyone, marketing good, right? I feel like that would work. Right, and
it's so fucked up. Dude,
I would immediately.
I can't even identify how fucked up that is.
Dude, why would you think that's fucked up? That works. Marketing wise, it works, right? For everyone else, it's Windows G. For China, it's Windows G. Because then Xi Jinping will allow Windows in China because it literally is called Windows G. Right? Like, it works. Because right now, Windows can't operate in China. Windows has to play by Chinese rules. So I just thought of it. And I thought this works, I think.
Beautiful.
But no, the thing that I love about it is the fact that if they're doing it already for this, there might be a world in which they allow it finally on PC. Because the thing that annoys the living shit out of me is all of the functions and features that Windows has that I don't give a shit about. Like I don't care.
Like how about that amazing feature that Windows has that whenever you plug in a new audio device, just goes like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and change this to your default audio device. It's like Windows. Can you at least ask me if I? No, I'm just gonna do it.
Well, I have a better one for you.
Thanks for fucking up my whole audio setup, motherfucker. God, I hate that.
I have a better one for you. What about that feature that Windows, for some reason, decided, hey, I know what I'll do. I'll decide for you whether or not something requires all the power that your PC has to offer. How about I'll just throttle the living shit out of some things? And it's like, why are we doing this? Like, literally just went on here.
I kind of feel like it.
My Brave browser is in efficiency mode.
Not so brave now, are you?
Yeah, which is beyond annoying because in efficiency mode, it slows the living shit out of it. I actually wonder if that's not the exact reason why I've been having these, because my YouTube will sometimes be super laggy, my Twitch will be super laggy, And it's just like, I'm pretty sure it's the efficiency mode bullshit.
Listen, this is why I use Edge. I'm an edgy boy.
No. I switched away from Edge.
I just edge through the internet. That's what I do.
No, I like Brave. Brave is pretty decent. No, I like Brave. But I just don't like Windows putting my shit in efficiency mode. I don't want your bullshit. I don't care about how much electricity I'm using. Go save the planet on your own time. I want to burn through as much CO2 as humanly possible, I want my PC to run optimal.
Isn't it hilarious how these companies that have like the worst fucking emissions ever to make as much money as possible, they feel the need to lecture normal people about like, oh, think about your fucking carbon footprint.
Yeah, I'm
like my carbon, like you wasn't it like BP or something at one point? They had like a massive fucking oil spill, and at the same time they have like an ad campaign going, oh, it's important to look at your carbon footprint. It's like, motherfucker, you literally just ruined God knows how many ecosystems with this fucking oil spill over here. Yeah. What's your business lecturing me on my fucking carbon footprint, motherfucker?
Dude, it's annoying.
Fuck you.
Microsoft has hundreds of data centers burning fuel at a record number to keep these data centers going. But my fucking browser is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, right?
Yes.
I'm the reason the earth is going to be
out there. Brave browsing like a maniac. You can't do this, Akalon. I'm glad Microsoft's finally calling you out on your bullshit. Yeah. Who Brave browses like you do, motherfucker? Taking up all the ozone layer with your Brave browsing? That's quite enough of that, sir.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for all the climate change that me and my browser are causing around the world. I'll tone it down ever so slightly. Like, come on, let's just not have this. But okay, so the future consoles, super interesting. We'll keep you guys abreast of anything that happens in this console war. Because I do think there's some interesting stuff happening there. Let's talk now about something that I know Rurikon added in here because he's super excited about it.
Bro, Nightreign is just shadow dropped this shit. Like literally, you know that? They literally just like, oh, by the way, guys, we did like a minor little update and they just patched the game. And then people log in. It's like, oh, and also here's hard mode gaping jaw. And people are like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, here's a hard mode for one of the Night Lords. Okay. Have fun. Like that was literally their effort. I don't even think they mentioned it on Twitter or anything. They just go like, yeah, we did an update. Then people go there and it's like everybody's posting like, what the fuck? What is this? Right. It's so weird. So yeah, I'm gonna be playing that today for the first time, and I'm really excited because Nightreign is something that I've been super addicted to. A lot of people don't like it because they want their single player Souls games, and I'm like, hey, listen, bro, whatever. You don't like it, that's fine. Yeah. Don't fucking play it. I love it. Okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm having a blast every time I play that game.
I think fundamentally, and I've sort of spent some time thinking about this. The reason I like Nightreign as a concept, I haven't played it yet, but as a concept, I love it, is it allows them to fix the multiplayer experience in future single-player Elden Ring game or Dark Souls games. Because they can see what works, they can see what doesn't work, and because it's made in the same engine, in the same world, it gives them so much more access to a deepening multiplayer experience. Which is one of the things I've heard so many people praise about Lords of the Fallen, saying that Lords of the Fallen, what it gets right, that no Souls game gets right, is the multiplayer, how seamless multiplayer happens.
Listen, I play that game on launch. Now it's even better, supposedly. I haven't played 2.0, but on launch, I would get together with my friend Wada, and both of us went through the entirety of the game multiple times, and it was so refreshing because that's the thing about Souls and Souls-likes. You usually, when you do co-op, you go in and you already know. The goal is we go in, we kill the boss, and then our session's over. Yeah. And it's done. And what Lords of the Fallen did is like, no, you go in and you kill the boss and you keep going. Yeah. And you keep going and you go and you go and you go until all of y'all are tired. What would usually happen though is that sometimes during upgrades, it was kind of like janky. So some stuff, like if you wanted to upgrade stuff, you would have to go back to your world. So we'd have to like separate for a little bit and then get back together. But I think they fixed most of that with 2.0. So 2.0 is likely even better. And yeah, the co-op experience is definitely something that they got right, even if the bosses felt way easier on co-op. But
well, hopefully there's some balancing stuff there. But I think that's where Nightreign really gets to taste the limits of what can be done with co-op, right? How do you balance a boss in co-op that the boss is still challenging, that the boss provides that challenge?
They nailed that.
Yeah, but I think that's literally, we spoke about this last week or the week before, where I said they should have never introduced the single player Dio.
I still agree with that. Yeah, I still agree with that.
But I wonder if that's not why they did introduce solo and Dio. Is because they want to figure out how do we balance bosses in a Dio situation in the next single player sort of Dark Souls game, right? Or the next Elden.
I still don't think that they should do it. It's like, listen, you do that 2 years from now when the game's like losing a lot of its popularity and losing a decent chunk of its player base, because it is not supposed to be a live service title. So therefore I would predict like within 1-2 years, that's when you're like, okay, the player base is dwindling. Here's your solo mode. Here's your duos mode. Go have fun. That would be the right way to do it. But it's like for the start, it should just be like, no, it's fucking 3 players. Fucking stop this bullshit. Like, I don't like playing with other people. It's good. Don't fucking play the game then.
No, I fully agree with you.
Like, but I am tired of like this notion that everybody believes that no, we need to play every single fucking game. No, we fucking don't. We need to play the games that we like. And that's it. And we don't have to like every single game. I still haven't made up my mind whether or not I like Lies of P, because I have a love-hate relationship with that game. But at the same time, I didn't go into Lies of P and start going like, oh, they need to nerf these bosses too hard. It's like, no, I fucking respect what it is. I don't know if I like it or not. I like some aspects, I dislike other aspects, but I'm not going in there with like, I need to nerf this shit. Need some difficulty options. Needs a lot of change. It's like, no, fuck it. Like, maybe it's not for me. It's that simple. And it's annoying that nobody can ever look at a video game and go like, you know what? Maybe this one's not for me. It's like, it's just there. It doesn't have to be for you. I
firmly agree with you. I'm just sort of going, maybe that's their thinking. So trying to find sort of like the silver lining.
It might be.
In an otherwise, I agree with you, pretty dark cloud. Which, there's easier ways to do this without actually destroying the game in the way. But it sounds like they're still super fun. So,
I'm loving the game. I'm having, as a matter of fact, I refuse to play with solo nowadays because I've heard feedback from people that do solo that like they found solo to be easier, and I was like, well, fuck that. I don't want it to be easier. I want to be hard. Just go. I only play with I only play with 3 other players. That's what I want. I play with 3 other players. Even if it's 2 randoms, I don't give a fuck. It's me and 2 other guys. Let's go. That's what the game's meant to be.
All right. So, speaking of, games that players are not happy with, and I genuinely am still in awe of the fact that this even happened, because this is a franchise that players have always loved, right? This is a franchise that has a very loyal player base.
Monster Hunter went from mostly negative on recent reviews to overwhelmingly negative. I mean, what's going on at this point is like we already talked about. What I think the reasons were, which I think a large part of it is performance. The other part of it is the streamlining of the game, etc. Like we went at length over what the reasoning is. But going from mostly negative to overwhelmingly negative, right now I just think it's for the memes. It's for the memes. Like, because, it's one of those things where when something gets momentum on the internet, people like to rally behind it and they like to be part of the movement. It's like, let's fucking go. People are shitting all over Monster Hunter Wilds. Let's fucking do it. And I'm not sitting here defending it. Like, there is a significant amount of room for criticism of Monster Hunter Wilds. I've done a lot of it myself. But at the same time, does it deserve to be an overwhelmingly negative recent reviews? No. Fuck no. There are so many more games that are significantly worse than Monster Hunter Wilds, and nobody's going to bat for them. It's just, it has a very passionate fan base, and they are going to you know, they are going to voice their opinion, which at the end of the day, I think it's better to have people tell you that they don't like your content than to have people not say anything at all. Because that's the worst part. When you have people that say nothing at all and they just like quietly quit and they're gone, it's like they're not even bothering to leave you a mean comment. It's just like they're gone. That's the worst. Because like, oh shit, you don't even know what happened. Capcom knows exactly what's happening in the game. They got tons of fucking feedback on those Steam reviews.
Yeah.
They just got to fix it.
So,
but what is happening is that next week, Capcom is having their summer showcase because, you know, we've just had Summer Games Fest and all that stuff. Capcom's doing their own thing. And in there, they're going to be detailing the next, at least I would assume they will, going to be detailing the next title update for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is going to be title update 2. It's going to bring with it Lagiacrus, which is something that the community has wanted to see in a Monster Hunter game for a very, very long time. He's had a massive absence in the games. And so people are super excited to have him back. But there's also going to be other monsters, and there's going to be additional challenges going to be added with this title update. There's going to be like a special event, a bunch of shit, and we're going to learn all about it on the 26th because they have confirmed that the update will be out by the end of the month. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they do the Capcom thing and then they say, and by the way, by the time this show is over, the update is live. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Okay. So
but yeah, that's what's happening with Monster Hunter Wilds.
So I'm just looking through some of the comments here on the overwhelmingly negative stuff. And
it's
you have
performance, right? Most of it
700 plus on Monster Hunter World, and somehow after 25 hours, I don't want to play Wilds anymore. Maybe it's nada, maybe it's the performance. I don't know. Then you have another guy here saying, amazing game. I had fun at 30 FPS. Can only imagine how fun it would be at 60.
So here's the thing about that first comment, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
If the dude has 700 hours in Monster Hunter World, that's not just Monster Hunter World. There's no way.
Okay.
So that is most likely Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So that is the content of the game plus the expansion.
Yeah.
And so that is going to have much more content than Wilds can ever have, because that is almost the equivalent content of 2 Monster Hunter games put together with a decent chunk of endgame specific content. So that's the thing, right? There's a lot of people that are also comparing game plus expansion with game. It's like, yeah, it's never going to be the same. I think that for a lot of those people, it's like, you should just wait until the game comes out with the expansion.
Yeah. So here's another comment. This guy has 113 hours on record, right? He had 112 hours at the time of review, but only an hour and a half in the last 2 weeks, okay, that he's played this. And he goes, this could have been a great game. What a shame. Yeah, the graphics are gorgeous and the new weapon mechanics are actually pretty fun. But there's just barely anything to do in this game. Not enough monsters. Look at all those Ratha, whatever the hell that means. Barely any challenging and interesting quests or events. The update pace is super slow. The order they release stuff in makes no sense. The final boss of the story weren't even with launch. It's hard to stay hyped when every patch feels like a tiny drip of content compared to World, where I could sink hundreds of hours right from launch and still have a blast. This game feels super empty. And don't even get me started on the gear system. The new restrictions separating weapon and armor totally kill build creativity. Everything is using same build for every weapon. Late game just doesn't feel rewarding anymore. Also the optimization, forget about the in-game performance. Just launching the game takes forever. For a game this big, it really shouldn't be struggling this much. What do you make of that comment?
So a lot of what he's saying is what I've mentioned about streamlining. They've streamlined a decent chunk of the game. He says he has hundreds of hours in World. That is possible because World did have a more complex armor system.
Yeah.
Which again just goes back to the whole streamlining aspect of it. This one you can be done with it much faster.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to grind stuff nearly as hard as you did in World. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I personally still really like Monster Hunter Wilds. I still play it a bunch, and I still haven't even done guides for all of the weapons because there's too many games coming out and I have to cover a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are problems in Wilds. I was one of the first ones to point it out before the game even came out that what I was seeing in gameplay footage, it looked like there was much less challenge than what we're used to. And I ate shit sandwiches over that because a bunch of people came out and actually started attacking me, saying like, "Oh, you're just fucking complaining all the goddamn time." And then the game came out, and people were like, "Well, actually, you were right." It's like, well, okay, there you go. It's like,
yeah, I personally just reading through some of the comments there.
They've added more challenging stuff with the updates.
Yeah, but I feel like you see the problem here is this is that sort of you only have one chance. And when you blow that chance, it's sort of like especially in the modern era where gamers are hypersensitive about just anything that happens. You're sort of at this point now where if you release something and it doesn't immediately hit with the player base, it's almost as if you're done, right? You're not getting that back because now people feel like, because some of the comments there genuinely complain just about how slow they've been at releasing any sort of fix for the for the performance issues, as well as just the slow content rollout.
Here's the one of the issues that one of the things, I don't know how to explain this, but it's like, it really annoys me that the game has all these performance issues. Mm-hmm. Yes. But if Capcom isn't using their own engine, which is the RE engine, which they've been working on and developing and all of that, mm-hmm. What are they going to go the way of CD Projekt Red and use fucking Unreal Engine 5?
Yeah.
Like, what are they supposed to do? That's the thing. They need to fix the engine. Yes. Mm-hmm. They need to fix it 100%. It needs to be good. Yeah. And we're going through growing pains, but I still want them to use RE engine. Like, I don't want everything to be fucking Unreal.
No. But I do think, I think the big problem is if you're at least looking like you're doing something, right? So patches are coming that is maybe stabilizing things a little, but from what I can tell, people are having serious issues with the performance. Some people are almost finding it unplayable. That's just bad, right? And players are not going to forgive you for that.
That's what I told you last time. Yeah. It's because... And by the way, it's not people's fault. I specifically said, like, listen, they fucked up and they didn't reset the shader cache.
Yeah.
That's on Capcom. They're the ones who fucked it up. People are not expected to have to like fucking know how to change their shader file.
Yeah.
And that is what is making the game unplayable for a lot of people. It was literally a slideshow when I launched it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm on a 7900 XTX, bro. Like, the game doesn't run like this. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, it's the shader cache. I have to go fix it. So I fixed it, but people aren't supposed to have to know this. So yeah, they dropped the ball. They need to fix it.
No, I
but it just agree. It still makes me sad that it's on overwhelmingly negative. It's like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah. But hopefully the developers just keep going and keep working and, fix their shit. Because ultimately you charge the money. You're supposed to provide an experience worth the money that you charge, And if you charge $60, you might have been able to get away with this. You charge 70 buckaroos. You have to provide a $70 experience.
It still annoys me in the midst of all this.
Yeah.
Is like, I'll make a video talking about this, and in the comments, there'll be like a couple of random people going like, sounds like a PC problem. Runs fine on my PlayStation 5. And I'm just like, bro, really? Fucking really?
Yeah.
Platform wars in 2025, bro. What are you, 12? Like, stop, please.
It is what it is. This. Everyone's going to be part of it. Final story, though, right? For the day.
Okay.
And here, I need your help, right? Because before we started, you gave me this trailer.
I gave you a trailer. Yeah. I ran into the trailer right before we started this.
Yeah.
And so the reason I brought this up is because there was this article that I saw as I was scanning through for topics and shit. This article was like, oh man, Blood Message might be the best looking video game ever. And I was like, huh.
And then you gave me a trailer to watch.
And then I gave you the trailer, which I watched that trailer in full. Yeah.
Of a game that looks like a game.
Yes. Do you want to know why it looks like that?
Yeah.
Let me just ask you. Mm-hmm. Your first thought, if you had to guess the engine based on what you saw, what engine was that game running on?
Unreal.
Yeah, right. Literally, first frame I saw, I was like, "Oh, it's Unreal."
Yeah.
It's Unreal
because
5.
everything on
it is
Unreal looks
5.
literally the same as everything on Unreal.
Yes, and it's like, bro, listen, the game looks good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the game looks good. Yes, it looks good. There's a trailer. There's lots of action. It looks like a fun game to play. But number one, it's developed by the skin job company, NetEase, who I do not like.
No.
I don't like NetEase. It is developed in Unreal Engine 5, which means most likely it is going to run like trash when it actually comes out. Like 90% of the Unreal Engine 5 games run like trash.
Here's the problem with Unreal. Unreal, no one has ever accused Unreal of not having having unreal graphics. It does have unreal graphics. The problem is it also has unreal performance insofar as the performance isn't real, right? So that's the problem with Unreal.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. Like, you guys should check out the trailer. It's a game called Blood Message.
Yeah.
Tell us what you guys think about the visuals and all that. Because I look at those visuals and I'm like, do we need all this detail?
But
wouldn't it be better if you just like lower the detail a bit
and give me good performance?
Don't go this far and give us better and actually have a trailer that's running at like steady 60. How about that? How about we do that? No, can't do that. That's too much.
I also sort of feel like at this point we're starting to bicker over a 0.01% increase in graphics.
Yeah.
Because if I go and I look at CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077, but I would even let's do apples to apples comparison. When I go back and I look at Witcher 3 graphics and I look at this game, the leap in graphics fidelity is maybe 2%, 3% maybe, where this is now 3% more beautiful. The latest update, if you haven't seen it yet, because CD Projekt Red
I haven't seen the latest update. No, yeah, right.
High definition upgrade for Witcher 3, right? Still made on the same engine, nothing in the engine has changed. It's still the Red engine, but just made it look a bit more pretty. It looks phenomenally beautiful. Does it look 90% worse than Blood Message? No. Does Blood Message look bad? No. But Witcher 3 doesn't look bad either, right? And so
yeah, but it's the thing that we brought up. Like, so during the Witcher 4 discussion, we talked about how they focused all this time on fucking horse muscles and all this bullshit that doesn't really matter. The next Xbox, the next generation of Xbox are also going like, oh, we're gonna make visuals so much better.
Yeah.
Then we get this trailer, which is like, oh, look at these fucking visuals. It's like, bro, just for once, can we please just give us more performance instead? Just like actually optimize these games better, because like they don't have to look this good. They don't.
I'll say the same thing.
If they would run better, it would be more important than looking this good.
I will say the same thing that I said last week and that I will say for the rest of my life. The problem that I have with all of these new sort of ultra-realistic games is they have no character because they all look exactly the same. All of them. There's literally zero difference between, Witcher 4 and this game. They look exactly the same. Whereas then I go to games that are highly stylized, where the graphics are stylized. They're not trying to go for ultra realistic graphics. They're trying to go for a style. And immediately there's character, right? There's a character that comes out of it. And it doesn't mean the graphics aren't bad or aren't good, right? I look at Monster Hunter Wilds, for example, not a game that's necessarily trying to go for ultra realistic graphics, but it looks gorgeous. Right? Is anyone going to tell me that it doesn't look phenomenally beautiful? It does, right? But it doesn't look like Death Stranding or like Witcher 4. But that's nice, because when I look at those graphics, I immediately go, this doesn't look like all of those other games. So clearly this is a different game to all of those other games.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. And you only really get that with stylish. I'll give you a great example. I'm playing The Altars at the moment on stream. And super fun game. But some of my people in chat, as they joined, there were some of them who thought that I was busy playing Death Stranding.
Yeah, because he also has like a suit and all of that.
Yeah, he has the same sort of suit. And even though Death Stranding is made in the Decima engine, and this I think is made in Unreal, if I'm not mistaken. It's still going for the ultra realistic look in some ways, right? And the problem there is it all just comes.
Does it actually run reasonable?
Yeah, I've had no problems with the optimization.
Surprised, it's UE5.
Yeah, no, but I will say this is something I wanted to mention.
Looks like
earlier.
Those guys figured it out.
I wanted to mention it earlier. I just saw one of those. It's one of those developers that make YouTube videos about the bad shit in Unreal. He actually said Unreal 5.7, I think, fixed, almost completely overhauled the Unreal experience. So it actually fixed a number of problems with Unreal. And apparently 7.5 is fixing even more stuff. So it does seem like the deal with CD Projekt Red to help them fix the game or the engine is paying dividends.
I hope so. And something definitely needs to change about that fucking engine. That's for damn.
Yeah, not wrong. Definitely not wrong. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? That's it. That's everything we have for you today. That's the whole podcast. Unless there's anything else. There's not really anything else, no? I don't have anything else that I want to talk about. I will say...
I need to go work out, brother.
Yeah, I will just say one final thing. If you have not played the Altars yet, absolutely have to, because I believe it's the same guys that made Frostpunk.
Is there a demo?
The same guys that did the war, this War of Mine, Atomfall. It's the same guys, right? Truly phenomenal experience. Like, genuinely phenomenal experience. So, absolutely.
Is there a demo?
I don't think there's a demo of it. No. But it's not that expensive. It's a pretty cheap game. But it is sort of, it's very story-driven. Right? Like, super story-driven. So, it's a survival game, but you have goals. Consistently, you're trying to survive with sort of reaching these goals, and the story is developing, and you have all of these people that you have to try and keep happy that are sometimes not that easy to keep happy. It's a genuinely fun experience. I don't know how long the game is going to be. I have a sense that the game is probably at most like 20, 25 hours. So it's a pretty short game, but pretty solid game. So yeah, absolutely check that out if you haven't already. Rurikon, as always, thank you so much for joining. Enjoy your workout session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me and Rurikon for another episode of the Mythic Banter. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and we will see all of you in the next one. Peace.